roll. All right. This is the SADL podcast, the first ever, hopefully not the only. And we have Matt. Oliver kicks ass. Well, actually, your team is Damage Inc. As well as Craig, Lucille Betts. And we're going to have some fun and break down some draft picks and saddle stuff for you. Well, I guess we have to.
You could have said 3-time world champ.
I could have. We're reigning champ right now. But I guess we have to say, like to start, that it's early in the season. There's a lot of baseball to be played. We're doing this mostly to have fun, talk a little smack, and just kind of be weird and ball breaking about it. So nothing personal. So we were talking about the draft in general, and we actually all drafted together at Craig's house, and we broke down the draft pretty significantly the night of, and we busted Harrison's balls pretty good, not intentionally, but here we sit 1, 2, 3 in the rankings so far. So just a coincidence that we're doing this, but we wanted to go through and give a handful of players that we each love and each hate through the draft. So you guys cool with rolling with that?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Matt, you want to start? Any player in particular you want to start with as far as your favorite picks here?
Yeah. So like early on, well, I'm just gonna say Anthony Volpe and Jersey Jobbers won the first round, right?
Okay.
But as far as like picks, the first pick that I love,
I disagree.
You disagree?
So it begins. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. The first pick that I loved, and this is more of a personal thing, was the Lodolo pick by Harris.
All right. So Craig's pick, second round, fourth in the second round.
Yeah. So
All
like
right.
when I like the 2 nights, maybe 2 nights before the draft started, I sent offers to like the top 4 picks trying to move up.
Yeah.
Obviously I wanted Anthony Volpe. Got shot down by 4 dudes. JP was the only one that was willing to do the deal. I was like, if the 5th or 6th pick, I probably could get Lodolo, Tristan Casas, Vinny, who was the other guy. Those were like the 4 guys that I wanted.
Yeah.
So I shot it down. But Lodolo was one of the guys I was seriously considering trading up into like the top.
Okay.
A couple of picks to get.
So it's interesting, right? Because first round, he still fell to you, and you had Cassis. Now, were you with that trade? Were you trying to still keep your 9th overall, or were you thinking that you'd probably get rid of that and move up?
I was going to trade the offer was like trading my first, second round picks for their first and I think third round picks. JP was willing to do it. But at that point, plus I kind of soured on like I wanted either Tristan Casas, like four guys, and I figured like there was a good chance I could get Vinny there. Casas, I was just like he was looking good in spring training, but I was like he'll probably fall. And then Lodolo, I was not too sure of. I thought Lodolo just because of like the age, strikeout potential, what he did last year, he just looked really good, and plus some of these other numbers. These advanced stats, like he was really a big name out there. I thought he was one of the better pitchers to grab over like a Darshow or Gallen. Those guys were also in the mix too.
Yeah, 100%. I guess, I like the Lodolo pick there too. My only hesitation with him is the park he plays in. We were chatting about this through text, and, in all the leagues, any of the leagues I had a chance to grab him, I think he would have had to fall to an area where he was undoubtedly the best player left. But I mean, I love his stuff, and I don't know if I had him last year in this league. I had him somewhere. But I mean, you look at his 2022 as a rookie, 103 innings, 1.25 whip, 3.6 ERA, great strikeouts. I mean, for the innings and solid. I mean, he's a solid pitcher. I guess my fear was combination of the ballpark and then the team. So how much could, the strikeout ratios and whip overpower like the win loss, which I know is somewhat fluky anyway.
Mhm.
And then that ballpark, but I mean,
Yeah.
I think the dude's going to be, a top 20 pitcher easily in the next, over the next few years. So I could see that, but I'm surprised you took Sal Perez over him then.
Yeah, Sal Perez was another guy. It was just kind of like I've always had Sal Perez on my teams in Saddle. He's always been super reliable.
Yeah.
As far as catchers are hit or miss. I think Sal Perez is the only one that has like, I mean, how many catchers have 30 home run potential? But
Yeah.
Sal does it every year.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
I mean,
That's
I'm
kind
cool
of what
with
I
it.
was on.
Yeah. So obviously, Harris, you love that pick because you took him there.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, the Dolo. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I almost took him in the first over May.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I think
as much as I love May.
I agree.
Mhm.
I was hoping May fell, but I think those two could easily be flip flopped.
I
Uh,
Yeah.
wanted Riley Green, but I mean, how do you pass up someone like Dustin Mayo for Riley Green? I mean, I know it's a keeper league and all, but
Yeah.
I
I
don't
guess
know.
it depends
Yeah.
on needs.
I think May is just really good.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I
It's
agree.
off to a good
I love
start.
May. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I like the Lodolo pick. Harris, any draft picks that you love in that we can focus on?
My favorite pick is Zach Allen. I mean, look at the dude's numbers, and he's so sick. He's so good.
Yeah.
I
No, I
mean,
mean,
I felt bad for the guy that went number one, had the first pick, and felt like he kind of had to take Varsho because
Ugh. Yeah.
I just thought that was I mean, who knows what'll happen, but I wouldn't want to have to take Varsho there. I love Zach Allen over Varsho all day, every day. It's not even
No,
close.
it makes sense. Yeah.
that's a tough one for me. I mean, I like Varsho. I think the hard
The
part,
offense is good.
his offense is good. I mean, for a catcher, his offense is elite, really.
Yeah.
He puts up JT Realmuto numbers, and it's not that Realmuto hits the most home runs or hits the best average or gets the most RBIs or runs as a catcher. I think his thing is that he's just a great overall consistent producer. Plus, he was a 2020 guy last year. I don't even know what the
Is he
next
still catcher eligible?
Varsho.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
to finish, I guess, what I was going to say there is that the only downfall to that is that there's probably a good chance that going into next year, he's not catcher eligible. And
Right.
so you basically have him for 1 year as a catcher, hoping maybe he gets to 5 or whatever games it is. I forget what the league setting is here. But you at least need 5 to 10. And then, but otherwise he's an outfielder. And as an outfielder, I think he just
Right.
becomes like a third, a number 3 outfielder.
Well, that's my question, is that if he's
Yeah.
a top pick, I mean, in my opinion, he's just like you said, a third. He's he's just if you look at all the other outfielders drafted over the next 10 rounds, if we look a year from now, they're probably all going to be ranked around the same.
Yeah. Oh, I'll come back to Gallon in a second, but I think that's where one of you guys hit upon. I think I can't remember which one of the two it was, but that essentially how Volpe was a great pick there at 2, and so ideally, if it's all done again, or if you guys are number 1, you easily take Volpe over Varsho.
Yeah. Plus at the time, Volpe had a ton of hype. Like I think we were like 2 weeks into spring training, and he was hitting the ball or something. Like he was super hype.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah,
Varsho, as far as like the rankings go, everybody had him high. They thought like it was a steal as, a catcher that produces,
Right.
who's going to get so many at bats as for an outfielder. You kind of thought that was going to translate, but so far, not so much.
He still might demolish the ball.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a couple weeks into the season.
I still like the guy.
Yeah, me too.
I don't particularly like, the on pace numbers, kind of going back to our disclaimer at the beginning. It's a long season and it's early in the season. So, these numbers are just for fun, really, right? Because otherwise, Max Muncy, which we'll get to at some point, would hit 80 home runs this season, which we know is not going to happen. So, but, as a catcher right now, if you think that he's going to have, 29 stolen bases, I mean, there's only one catcher that comes close to that. So that's that's pretty sweet. I think he obviously
Yeah.
reaches over 14 home runs. He gets 20 home runs. So I don't
Yeah.
mind the pick. I mean, it would have been hard for me. But I obviously Volpe probably is the pick there. But we're nitpicking the top 3 picks. So they're all solid, I think. But
Yeah, they're all
yeah.
good.
Going back to what you're saying, Harris, you love Zach Gallen as the pick. I think my only hesitation with him is his injury history.
So I'm looking at his numbers now. Since 2019, he's had less than a 3 ERA in every single season except one. Although he didn't play many games, yeah, he got hurt a lot.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, he just looks so. I mean, I just watched him a lot because I had him on my other team last year, and he just looked so. Oh my god, he just looked so good, so dominant. And then when he came out this year, like the first couple games, he was dominant again. And I'm like, oh man, this dude is so good.
Yeah,
He's looking really good so far, but
Yeah.
we've seen it happen before too.
And that
100%.
ballpark's rough too.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And that division's rough.
That division's rough, yeah.
He started slow. Look at the first 2 games, right? 2/3 innings, 5 earned runs, 6 innings, 4 earned runs. It was really the last 3 put it together. But I was hoping Gallen fell to me in the last round there. I'm sorry, in the first round. But I knew it was going to be a long shot to do it, but I was
Just
hoping.
feels like he's a little underrated, I think.
I can see that. I just think that it's partially all the things we said, right? Ballpark,
Yeah.
team, division, injury
Yeah.
history. He's done it, but not enough,
Yeah.
I'm
but-
not shocked he was the first pitcher to go for sure.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, me either. Okay. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. I'm gonna find a guy. I guess I should stay with picks I love here, right? We'll keep it positive to start. Right?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. So I think the first pick, and there's a couple of us that are gonna agree with this here. I'm gonna scroll all the way down to round 10, right? And here we sit with the 10th pick in round 8. I apologize. Round 8, the 10th pick in round 8. Here sits Pablo Lopez.
Oh,
Yeah.
love that guy.
I don't know if you remember this, Matt, but I was all over Pablo. I don't know if I had him for a few years, but I kept him the 1 year in this league. But I'm pretty sure I was the first team to roster him. I've been Pablo Lopez fan, since he came into the league, and I had him longer than he was good, but I definitely had him during some good times. So I wanted him this year. I don't know, any pick I had didn't really seem to kind of fit, but when he went, I just thought that was such a great steal. And the
Absolutely.
and the news coming out of spring training for him was excellent. He added velocity, and he was having good results in spring. And when you think about that team, man, I think that team is one of those teams that is sneaky good, versatile, deep. I mean, they have a problem right now with the guys that are coming off injury list, and the young guys that have in minors mixed with the guys who are going to play, whether it's Kirilloff, Polanco, Miranda, the Julian they just sent down, all the Kepler, not that any of those guys are superstars, but you combine those with, the rest of the team that is solid, Buxton, and then the pitching staff. Because there's another guy on here that I think we have listed somewhere, but Pablo Lopez and Tyler Mahle and Joe Ryan and the bullpen. I mean, they're Sonny Gray.
I don't even think they're at their. They're definitely not at their peak, because there's a lot of guys that aren't even playing up to their potential. Like Miranda's one of them. But that team, for what they're doing right now, they're leading the division. And in a couple of months, I could definitely see them being up there with the Tampa Bays and mentioned.
Exactly. Yeah. All the players we just named on that team and how well they're doing. And we didn't even mention Carlos Correa.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's playing awful. So I love the Pablo pick there. I mean, I just think, he's sneaky,
Indeed.
consistent. He's sneaky good. And his start so far, I mean, it looks like this past week he had the one blunder. But outside that,
other than that, he was great.
Yeah. And that's against Washington, which is surprising. But, we know that not every pitcher is going to be phenomenal each time out.
Yeah.
So,
No.
okay.
What's really shocking, though, is that the fact that he went in the 8th round in this league when everybody had 10 keepers, like just for comparison, like in Die Yanks, I grabbed him in the 9th round,
Yeah, he went.
Right.
and
Oh.
yeah, like
We only have 30,
3
what,
keepers.
40. Yeah, right.
Like Pablo
Yeah.
should have probably been in like the first 4 rounds easily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
looking back on it, I couldn't believe he was still there in the 8th round. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking?
I know.
yeah.
Well,
When you
I
scroll-
went Blake Snell and Joe Musgrove like in those mid rounds.
Yeah, I like
Pablo
those
was
guys.
definitely a guy I was even thinking about then.
Yeah,
Surprisingly, this draft was really deep in pitching. I don't know how it worked out
it
that way.
was so deep in pitching.
Yeah, but I had to pass on pitcher after pitcher that I wanted, and I think most of the guys I have listed here on my love sheet is pitcher related.
Yeah, a lot of the pitchers that I got late were really good pitchers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we all got a love in there. Matt, if we go back to a second one for you, how
right.
you feeling?
Well, I was looking at my original list from like a week ago when we started putting this together.
That's a very good point. I'm going to pause you right there because we
Yeah.
started talking about this and we rescheduled a couple times, and it's amazing how much things can change this early in the season with given 1 week. So
I know.
we probably all have a little bit of marker crossouts here. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one, the next guy I have, I think we all probably have, but this guy I had on the list originally, and now he's on the IL. Logan O'Hope in the 6th round.
Yeah.
I thought, it's, taking a catcher in the 6th round. He's a kind of a flyer then, a lot of decent guys around like that potential. But I think I was high on this guy in the draft, and I thought, the 6th round, maybe a little sooner than I would have thought. But the guy started out on fire. He looks like a real, like legit, contributor. And it just sucks what happened to him, man.
Yeah, it's
But
surprising
he
too.
was one of the guys I loved in the draft, and I thought it really would have paid off for Gerace.
It started to look like it was going to, right?
Yeah, he looked awesome, man.
Which is surprising for a young catcher because usually that's their downfall. They'll play solid D, and that alone is an impressive feat. But it's obviously hard to to be offensively good too. So just so far and few between. I was surprised, and it is a bummer, not only for him, but also for the Angels. Just to see, their team that really has obviously underperformed, and now they finally get a good thing going for them, and off it goes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Phillies draft pick, by the way, 23rd round.
Really?
Yep. Yeah.
What was part of the deal?
He was part of the, what was he?
I'll find out in 2 seconds.
Yeah, he was part of the Syndergaard deal, I want to say. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, if you can find that, that'd be awesome.
Oh, he was traded by the Phillies to the Angels for Brandon Marsh.
Okay. Yeah. So, which honestly, I'm okay with. And not to, we can talk about Marsh later, but we really needed a center fielder as a Phillies fan, and we have Real Muto, so Hoppe is not going to do anything, But
that's true. Yeah, that's a win-win.
Exactly.
Started out on fire.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that. Harris, any other loves you want to chat about draft wise?
I got a whole list of people that I loved. I loved in the 10th round. There was 2 that I really liked. I liked the Alec Baum pick, and I liked by Master of Disguise, and I liked the Luis Arraez pick by the Browns.
Yeah. I think we've had Arraez. I think was a pick that we all have listed here, so he's a good one to chat about first. I was thinking about this earlier. I think I stayed. I'll preface that first. I think I stayed away with him mainly because I felt like maybe he was so one-dimensional. And didn't really offer that much else. But the way he's hitting the ball, I wish obviously I was on him. But what I was thinking about earlier is I haven't seen, and I can't think of a guy that has been as contact oriented since maybe Ichiro. Maybe I'm incorrect on that, but it's so far and few between. We have a guy that is just so, contact heavy.
He's
Um,
batting
Yeah.
444.
batting 444. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And last year, and he hit 316, but his OBP is 375. Yeah. The only
Yeah.
problem is, and it's going back, we look at these 2022 stats, he played pretty much the whole season. But really, outside of the hits, which is important in the SADL league here, and the OBP, he didn't really give you anything else. There's no steals, there's no RBIs,
Right.
there's no runs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's basically, for our purposes, he's hits, doubles, and OBP. But still, for a 10th round and a guy that can play multiple positions here.
Yeah, that's the thing. Multiple positions, right?
Yeah.
Can he do
Yeah.
middle and corner infield or no?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Right. So that right there is huge, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that while I'm sitting here saying that he can only do a couple things, most players can only do a couple things, and it doesn't mean that he's also fully formed and developed. There's might still be some more to unleash there. So I think that was a steal, man. I really love that pick too.
I mean, he went over Anthony Rendon, and Alec Baum. Like, I don't know if you put those three together. I don't know who I would pick right now. I mean, I kind of like all three, to be honest.
Did you say Rendon?
Yeah, Rendon went right after Baum and Araz.
Oh yeah, right. I got you. The Bone pick was great too. I contemplated keeping him, and I agreed with some of the projections that it could be a breakout year for him. I was just a little scared to do it, knowing that the downside to him is he's like barely starter worthy.
Yeah. Kicking myself for taking Isaac Paredes over all three of those guys right now.
Yeah, right. In hindsight, yeah.
I mean,
let me jot down a new hate pick.
Don't get me wrong. I still like Isaac Paredes, but I think I like Araz, Bohm, and Rendon maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I would agree. But yeah, last year, his overall numbers weren't impressive per se, right? He played the whole season, 280, 315 OBP, 13 homers, 72 ribbies, 24 doubles, 79 runs, 164 hits. But I think it's the fact that like he started to put it all together, and you could see the projection upward. So yeah, I like the Bone pick there too.
Yeah. My concern with him is just home run potential. If he's going to play a power position, he's got to put up crazy numbers.
Yeah.
Pushing close to 30. I don't know if he's going to get there.
Yeah, I can see that. But that part of his the appeal, I guess, or the news, the buzz in the off season leading into spring training was that he was kind of projecting upward in the power numbers, right? Because you're right, because if he's going to hit 15 to 18 home runs at third base, and not be crazy impressive with any other stat, then he's kind of just so. But I think he does have the power to be a 25 home run guy.
In that ballpark, for sure.
Right, exactly. Yeah. What were you saying, Craig?
Breaking news in the middle of the podcast, as I was watching earlier, Spencer Strider is in the middle of a perfect game through 6 innings.
Well, not anymore.
Oh, is it over?
No, it will be now.
Oh my God. I was watching the first inning, and oh my God, he was throwing.
Like he's like video game style.
Straight. I mean, some of his pitches are just insane. Absolutely insane.
No, he really is.
Insane.
So I'll do another love here, and then maybe we go through one more love, and then we'll do a couple hates, right?
Love.
I think I'm gonna stay in Minnesota, and I'm gonna drop down to round 11 with the Jersey Jobbers here, and Joe Ryan.
That's my boy.
I mean, I think, and I heard someone say this to try to be like a bold prediction recently, and I forget who it was, but like a baseball, fancy baseball analyst, and they were saying that they wouldn't be surprised to see Joe Ryan in the MVP chats this year.
What? Tell them about that.
I don't know about that either, but
I hope you're right.
So far, and again, it's only 4 games, but 4 games, he's 4-0. 3.24 ERA, 0.76 WHIP, 25 innings, 29 Ks, only 4 walks. Right.
Wow. That's impressive.
So again, we know that this on pace is never going to happen, but you're talking about these numbers, right? 213 innings and 184 Ks. He's going to be 29-0. All right, with only less than 30 walks in the season. But, I mean, last year he started to show a very quiet season for him. 27 games, 147 innings, 151 Ks, only 47 walks, a 1.10 whip, 3.55 ERA, 13-8. That's the fact that he lasted into the 11th round to me is silly.
Steal.
Yeah, it is.
The steal.
Yeah. Well, it proved a lot of people didn't really believe him as much as like a Lodolo and those other guys,
Yeah. So
Well,
just as a reference, real quick, right? We dropped down trying to find a pitcher here that's drafted.
look at your pick right before him. Reed Detmers.
Right. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But here we go. I'll take this guy because we were talking about him through text today. If you can do it again, do you take, or whether it's in the same round, do you take Chris Sale or Joe Ryan?
Oh, for me, it's not even a question.
I would never draft Chris Sale ever.
Yeah, there's no question.
I'm with you. I think he's toast.
Yeah.
So if I not only would I take him overall, but now you're talking about the difference of what, 7 rounds that he went, and for our league, that's 70 players. That's pretty crazy to me.
What about Drew? What about someone like Drew Rasmussen and Joe Ryan? Now that's a conversation.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of both of those.
Yeah, I like both of those guys.
I contemplated keeping Rasmussen.
He went a little bit earlier than Ryan.
Yeah, and I think he was a steal there too.
Right, I would have probably done the exact same thing, but I mean, I don't know. At the end of the season, Ryan could be better.
Yeah,
even though I love both.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have Rasmussen everywhere I can. I would have taken him in this league as well.
Yeah.
Just we talked about how deep pitching was, but I
Pablo,
huge fan. Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. Let's do one more round of loves. Who you got, Matt?
Let's see. Well, I have 2 guys. They're both Harris picks.
Okay.
Nice.
The first, I'll just go with Stott in the 17th. I was going to say Benintendi in the 15th, but I know it doesn't look spectacular now, but I think at the end of the year, like Benintendi is going to be a reliable outfielder, 15th round. All the guys that went ahead of him, Oscar Gonzalez, Winker, Haniger, Colas, all those guys, those guys that drafted them are going to regret they didn't get Benintendi. But I think Stott in the 17th round is really like the great pick.
Yeah, that has been solid. And he's actually one of the guys we can just talk about for me. We do want to talk about young guys that are really showing up this year. And dude, he's been awesome. I was watching some breakdown of him. I think it was Mark DeRosa on MLB Network, where they were saying last year the issue with him is that he couldn't hit anything high. So in the clip after clip is showing high fastball, and he was just missing it, striking out all the time. They adjusted his stance, and now he's all over that pitch. And he's already such a tough at bat, which I think everyone saw in the playoffs last year. He may not, be the best hitter, maybe not the best contact hitter, not the best power hitter, but he's a tough at bat. And if he now eliminates his kind of only weakness, I agree, man. I think so far he's having a great year.
Yeah. I mean, he's top 3 in hits right now, which
Is
mean,
he
still,
really? I didn't even know.
He's third in the league with hits. He's got a lot of strikeouts, 21 strikeouts. But like you said before, like, when he was still a prospect and coming up, like his whole thing was just like, he's a pure hitter, and he's showing it. He's definitely made whatever adjustments he had to do. I mean, it's still early, I know that, but he's 340 average, 360 on base. He
has like a 17-game hitting streak.
Yeah. I mean, to get that guy in the 17th round is a steal.
Yeah, no, I agree. And also plays all the infield positions.
Young. He's young. He's probably going to be a keeper for the next 10 years.
Yeah, it can be. It is weird looking at his profile. So obviously we only have last year to go by, but his strikeout to walk ratio isn't crazy. But when you look at it right now, I think it's a little more inflated than what it will end up being. I think he evens that out just a little bit,
Yeah, and he really struggled, coming in last season. I forget why he came up. Was there must have been an injury or something? I think they kind of
Segura.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
not
moved
really
that.
sold on the guy, to be honest.
Really.
Well,
Wow.
sounds like there might be a deal in the works after this.
I mean, I like him for where I took him, but like, if somebody offered me a deal for him, I'd probably move him for sure.
Okay. Oh,
Good to
He's
know.
he's definitely a sell high candidate, in my opinion.
you heard it here first.
I'm putting that in my back pocket. All right.
Matt loves those contact guys. I agree with the Ben Attendee pick too. Just going back to it real quick. Like trying to, put guys in categories. I guess like we do with like music and stuff. What genre is it? I kind of looked at Ben Attendee and Verdugo as like the same type of player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decent contact hitters. If you can get 20 homers and 80 RBIs and 80 runs, but a high on base percentage, you're happy. So I liked him there. I don't know where I took Verdugo, but and it's not really on my list here to talk about. But yeah, 10th round, so 1 round before. But he's been a good surprise as well.
Yeah. He's coming into his own. I mean, Verdugo still is very young. I always liked him coming up, and I think he's putting it together this season. Might probably be his best. Ben Attendee's, had injuries or whatever, but he's, his on base is going to be solid. So if he keeps it together on that team, he's got guys to knock in. He might get some RBIs. He could have a pretty good year.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, so I'll go with one more love here. I have a couple guys on the list that are maybe kind of obvious. And I'm kind of torn. I'll give one that I really love, and I'll give another one that I kind of like. So the one I kind of like is Yohan Moncada in the 21st.
Really?
Yeah. I think and I'm not gonna spend much time because I actually do want to talk about someone that I really love. I was on Moncada this year. I didn't really get him the way he fell, the like needs I needed. But you got to figure this guy's had a rough couple years coming off COVID. He had long COVID, and then I forget what he had, like some weird injury or some personal matters. But I think that like he obviously has the talent. He's done it before at least 1 year. I'm not the biggest Moncada fan in general. I'm not saying he's going to be like the next great third baseman. And I think he's not going to be anywhere near what he was projected to be as a prospect. Remember, he was number 1 prospect overall for a couple of years.
Oh yeah, he was hyped up.
Right. But do I think that he can reach back into this season, this 2019, where he hit 315, 367, 25 home runs, 79 ribbies, 83 runs, 161 hits on the White Sox team now that's more loaded offensively? I do. And so I don't, he's hurt again. That's also been one of his bugaboos. But to get a CI, third baseman in the 21st round, I kind of like that, but the guy I like, I'm kind of squeezing to the guy I like a little more. I'm squeezing 2 in here real quick. Was also by JP, I believe. No, it was Backwater Browns. I like the Mard Rosario pick there.
Really?
I do.
Yeah. What round was that?
7th
round.
7th round.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta see who else went there, but I really like what I'm seeing from that guy.
Yeah. Again, not the hugest fan, like in general.
Me either.
I don't think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think he's going to be like maybe an all-star here and there. But the fact that you get a shortstop middle infielder who is he's definitely on the list to be 2020 this year.
Yeah.
With he had 180 hits last year. I think he can create that. 86 runs. I think he can recreate that. 71 ribbies.
What, you think he's gonna be 2020? Is that what you said?
I think he has the potential to be 2020.
I think he does too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had 15 here in 2019. I get that's a rabbit ball. He had 11 last in 21. He had 11 before. So yeah, okay. So maybe he's
not. Yeah.
15, 25. But
yeah.
I just think for that position there, I think it was really solid and kind of safe. Like I think his floor is pretty safe because his speed.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think he's going to break ground in any way. And there's a bunch of other picks in there where I had just to go fast, really quick. I love the Blake Snell pick in round 5. I thought, he's a top 20 pitcher easily, and he just kept falling and falling.
Yeah.
I also love the Luzardo pick in round 7.
Love that pick.
No,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
He's
so I
like
thought-
Pablo, like those two. Like I don't know
Yeah.
why. That's why I hate these fucking guys. I said it during the draft. Like, why was I drafting Andreas Munoz and Fairbanks? Like, what you have to get these guys
You
just for
fell
saves
for
and
the
balls.
hype.
I hate those rounds where you just got to get those guys. There's so many
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
that fall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Now, there's other players we can work into some of the other portions of what we want to talk about, but before we move on to hates, is there any other loves that like we got to squeeze in? Any other Cupid hearts you got to send out?
Yes, I have a big one.
I
I have a big one.
Yeah, I didn't hear the same, but who you got?
It's from Team The Master of Disguise.
Yep,
I don't really know who that is, but
that's Drace, Chris Drace.
it's Chris Trace. All right,
Yeah.
so yeah, round 19, Nolan Gorman.
Okay,
Mm.
all right,
Round 19, Nolan Gorman. I mean, I think that was a great pick.
okay, all right.
I mean, obviously he's killing the ball right now, but doesn't mean he'll continue it. But just, I mean, 19th pick. I
That's
mean,
a
he
great
went,
pick. Yeah.
yeah, he went what 12 rounds later than Ahmad Rosario. I mean, I know it's not the same position, but
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
I
I agree. His upside is definitely much greater than
his
Rosario's. I would
upside's
say.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, his upside's great for round 19. I love it. Great pick.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys worried about playing time with him at all?
I don't think so. No,
No. Okay.
no,
Yeah,
just-
if he keeps producing like this, he's not going to
Nope.
lose time.
no.
Yeah, I think that's true.
You know.
I guess my fear is what their middle infield lineup looks like. And of course, it can be changed in a second with injuries.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess they have him scheduled in a DH most of the time, it's looking like.
He looks
Yeah.
so good at the plate. I mean, his swing is just beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really
First
nice.
round pick. I remember the year he got drafted. If I remember correctly, he got drafted with the same year as Matthew Libator, and they're friends.
Hmm.
Oh, that's
and-
cool.
Yeah, they both got drafted in the same round. Their dad's like,
The same
uh,
team.
no, it was Libator was by the whatchamacallit, Cardinals, right? And hold on, let me see if I can find that here real quick.
So was Nolan Gorman now.
Gorman was. I'm so sorry. Hold on, I don't want to hold up everything. Where was?
I mean,
Gorman?
Gorman only hit 226 last year.
Yeah, I don't think he played that much.
He had 313 plate appearances, 283 at bats,
Mm.
89 games. He played 89 games. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
I'm sorry, it was
I'm
the
just saying.
2018. That's what it was. It was 2018 draft.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't find him. That's where Bohm went third overall, by the way. And
And
Kalanick,
what draft? Kalanick too.
yeah, 2018. Just to read it off real quick: Casey Mize, Joey Bart, Alec Bohm, Nick Madrigal,
Wow.
Jonathan India.
I loved Casey Mize.
Yeah, Jared Kalanick, Ryan Weathers. I'm gonna jump down a bunch here. Grayson Rodriguez is that draft too.
Oh wow.
Logan Gilbert was that draft. Matthew Libator was by the Rays, and so he.
Oh, by
and-
the Rays. Wow.
Yep. And so he and whatchamacallit were friends. Nolan Gorman, which was cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's off to a great start. He's only 22.
22 years old. Yeah.
He could be a beast this year. And
Who knows what he could do in that lineup?
yeah, Brendan Donovan, is that the guy that's playing second for them right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
Gorman
I mean,
played there the past 2 games. They sat down on him for 2 games
Yeah.
because he's been slumping a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
mm,
Okay. So let's move on to draft picks we hate. This is even more fun.
Oh,
We
yeah.
get to put people on blast. Matt, you want to start us off? And don't be looking at my ad drop
I don't know.
request there.
no, that's all right. No, I think we touched on this draft day, but like Stoner's first 2 picks were
we're
just
just
mind-boggling.
we're just gonna blanket them together.
Yeah, that I'm gonna take because he had the 10th and the 11th pick.
Yeah.
So Alejandro Kirk, all right, that makes some sense, I guess, but not really in the first round. Nah. Taylor Ward is your second pick. The first pick of the second round just makes no sense to me.
I hate that pick too. I can see the Kirk pick. I wouldn't have done it myself, but I
Yeah.
get it. I'm also in the situation where I had a keeper catcher, so whatever. But yeah, I'm not a big Taylor Ward fan. And it's
No.
not that he didn't have a good season. He just had really strange like stretches of the season. He started really super hot and ended really hot, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you gotta like the 281, 360, average OBP. 23 homers is fine. It's just crazy that it only meant 65 ribbies,
Yeah.
65 ribbies, 73 runs. But yeah, I just think that there's so many other better players out there than him as well. So I was happy they both went because they were nowhere near on my radar. But yeah, I get what you're saying. For the first two picks, it's really hard to start. Which
and just like just real quick, just like we said, like this draft was pitcher heavy. It was outfield light for sure. So I can kind of understand doing that, but like Jake McCarthy, like who would draft Jake McCarthy in the second round if we were drafting again?
Yeah.
Like I think Taylor Ward, Andrew Vaughn would have been a better pick. He went in the second round too.
Yeah.
And then Jake McCarthy. It's like where the outfield is.
Yeah, I can see that.
None.
Yeah.
Nah. So I would have punted. I wouldn't definitely wouldn't have taken Taylor Ward in this.
Well, I mean, just to dig into that, right? Go into the fourth round where you have Castellanos and Suzuki. I happen to like both those guys. I happen to draft one of those guys, but I contemplate on keeping Castellanos because I think last year was a little bit fluke. I don't think he is what he was, the seasons prior, but I do think that last year was just a fluke season, in a negative way. But because I think he is better OBP guy, I think he's a better home run guy. I think he's a better, run.
Look at those doubles, dude. I mean,
his doubles are always really good. Yeah.
And that's great for this league, second, doubles and triples. So
yeah. But I'd rather have both Castellanos and Suzuki over Taylor Ward, no doubt.
100%
draft day. So so I agree with that. All right. Well, I'm gonna also stay near the top here. I'm gonna slide down to the. Oh, sorry, Harris, I jumped over you. Yeah, since I'm going already, I'm gonna go with it. And it was in the third round here, CJ Abrams.
I had him on my pick too. He was my next worst pick.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw it. So I knew that it was comfortable for us to chat. But it's not that I don't think the dude has talent. He's obviously been like a top prospect. But I just think that sometimes we get prospect rankings all twisted in our head in both ways, and in this case, like what I didn't like about him was some of the underlying numbers that you can research and find out, as far as like hard hit rate and chase rate and all that stuff. It just didn't seem like I think he has, I guess the easiest way to say it, I think he's got like great raw talent. I think the dude's probably a great athlete. I just don't know how great of a baseball player he's going to be. And is he going to be more like a Mondesi where he can get, 30, 40 steals in the higher upside and maybe 15 home runs? Okay. But what are the rest of his numbers going to look like? I'm not in. I'm not in general, but I despise it as a third round pick.
Absolutely. Yeah. He came with some hype because he was a big prospect, but even towards like the time when he was promoted, I think that shine kind of came off too. And I definitely wouldn't have trusted him that early in this draft. I don't even know if I would have drafted him mid rounds,
I agree. He was definitely someone I would have, I was definitely waiting for someone else to take him.
Oh, for sure.
I just didn't think it was going to be in the third round.
Yeah. And he was a big part of the Soto trade.
100%. Yeah, exactly. Harris, any picks you hate?
My own pick in round 12.
What?
All right, let's
picking
see.
your own players.
What do you got?
I took JD Martinez over Ian Happ.
Okay. All right.
That was a mistake.
I mean, I don't know if it was a mistake. I mean, it's too early to say, but from what I've
it was a mistake.
Of course, you're the guy who took Happ, but from what I've been watching with the Cubs and that that team that they have, that lineup that they have, that energy that they have, it's pretty fun to watch. I mean, the Dodgers are awesome too, but I don't know. If I could redo it, I would 100% take Hap over JD Martinez.
Yeah, yeah, I can see it. I mean, obviously,
100%.
I was happy you did that, but he's been sneaky the past couple of years because he definitely
Yeah, that's what I
underperformed.
was looking for. That's what I was looking for. That kind of like sneaky, possibly 30 home run type guy,
Yeah,
in the
Yeah.
12th round.
yeah, yeah. He's been like a strange producer because he's been knocking on the door for a few years because he's shown the talent. You go back here to 2017, right? He only had 364 at bats. He had 24 homers with
JD Martinez.
Ian Happ here.
Oh, Ian Happ. Right.
Yeah, and so 364 bats, 24 homers, good counting numbers with that combined, 8 steals, 328 OBP. You figure he does, he can increase that. But then the next year in 2018 was disappointing. 2019, he only had 140 at bats. 2020, obviously shortened season, his OBP has been really good. You go to 21, now it's basically his first almost full season, and the numbers are pretty much even, but awful alpha average. And then last year, I think last year is where he was pretty sneaky and didn't get really noticed by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Played a full season, 271 batting average, 342 OBP, 17 homers, 9 steals, right?
Yeah.
72 ribbies, 72 runs on an awful Cubs team.
Right.
Awful team. So to me, I was all over Ian Happ. And I think that he can be a 2020 guy. I think he'd have to really increase the steals, but in today's world, I think that's doable.
Everybody's going to increase their steals this year. And
right.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's probably a 2020 potential dude. He's took a late bloomer. It took him a long time to develop, but I think, now he's definitely one of the leaders on that team, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I got burned a little bit by Martinez last year, not in this league, but I drafted him in.
You've been drafting him for like 10 years.
I mean, in some of the leagues, but I mean, he's always been such a good OBP guy. I think Matt's had him a bunch too. So I figured, last year the disappointment was that he started off decently, but everything just fell apart. His OBP still stayed there. Yeah, power numbers just fell apart, and so my fear at the Dodgers, Harris, with him was if he does what he did last year, how much is he going to play?
Right.
Because the time the team was, I felt like a little deeper. But I mean, I guess now, I don't know, maybe they're with injuries and whatnot. And then when the second baseman got sent down, oh no, I'm sorry, he got hurt. Who was their second baseman?
Lux.
Yeah. When Lux went out for the year, I think that was a huge help for Vargas, and then JD getting full time, Chris Taylor going down and sucking. But yeah, I was off JD this year too. So balls to take your own guy there, Harris.
Yeah, I know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at the draft and I'm like, damn, I wish I would have taken Ian Happ there. I kind of like watching a lot of Cubs games recently. I really like what I've seen from Ian Happ.
Yeah. All right, Matt. So we stole one of your guys. And when we
I got plenty more.
Yeah. All right, so who else you putting on blast?
We're gonna put Jersey Jobbers, who I thought had. I mean, I think he has a great team and decent draft, but Gabriel Marino in the 5th.
Okay.
I was not a believer.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm with you there.
Still not a believer?
Still kind of not. I mean, look at the other guys. I think Contreras would have been a better pick. Still think, but at the end of the year, that's a better pick. But
how about Tyler Stevenson?
Tyler Stevenson's a good hitter.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
he stays healthy.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I guess it just falls in line for Jersey Jobbers, right? We know he drafts young, he takes risks, and yet he grabs good guys. He's not grabbing CJ Abrams there. But so I didn't mind him as much, only because of the scarcity of the position. And I don't know where Jobbers was yet with catchers. I don't know if that was his first or second.
I don't know.
Let's see real quick. So go down to, I've never looked at it like this actually.
And he was super hyped before the season. Like people, like
Yeah.
Every article was like hyping him big time.
Yeah.
Wasn't he part of the Varsho trade? I
Yeah,
think
he
that
was.
the deal, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had Murphy in the third, which
Oh,
that alone is interesting. I like Murphy.
I love Murphy.
But
Yeah.
Love.
I can see why people wouldn't. But so yeah, I'm kind of with you. I probably would have passed Moreno there for some other guys, but
Yeah, he took 2 catchers in the top 5 rounds.
yeah,
Why?
I don't think that part's uncommon in this league because you have to have
Really?
2. Yeah, because I
Hmm.
think they do fall off. Let me go back to that 5th. Let me see who falls after him real quick.
I think there was a run on catchers like that
Oh,
5th, 6th round.
I
Right,
think
right.
Matt got Cal Raleigh like super late.
I got him in the 9th, I think, or something like that.
I like Cal Raleigh.
There was this run, right? So he kind of started it with Moreno. I'm trying to see who went Wilson Contreras,
Harris, man.
then Moreno, then Contreras,
Yeah.
Milwaukee. Then I took Stevenson, and then O'Hoppe.
Oh, Hop, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think, like, I'm trying to look to see here who would fall after, and then it just dies. There's no catcher for
John Heim,
you
baby.
took Raleigh as the next pick in the 9th.
Yeah.
I like
John,
that.
John Heim.
I don't know who John Heim is, but I like Jonah Heim.
That's what
I
I meant.
like him. I think I was saying the draft day. I think he's underrated as well.
Yeah,
good
smashing
team.
ball.
Yeah, switch hitter.
It's just so hard to take catcher that early. Like that many catchers. Oh, I just don't. It's hard for me to comprehend.
Yeah.
But I, think
Wilson,
that's
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jack.
no. I was gonna say I just think that's league oriented. I'm with you, Harris. But I think after the saddle cherries popped, you'll realize that having 2 catchers is pretty key. I think Matt would agree that like part of his championship runs was built around having 2 of the top 5 catchers in the league.
Yeah, he took Sal Perez in the 2nd round, of course.
Yeah, well, I mean, for a while he had Gary Sanchez and Wilson Contreras in like the prime of their careers.
Right.
Yeah, most of the time I'd have like Sal Perez, Wilson Contreras, and they did me right, man. That was good.
That is huge. I mean, if you can have 2 of them, I mean, that's huge for sure.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about anything, dude. Those guys barely got hurt.
That's like having two top tight ends in fantasy football.
Yeah.
If you started to. Yeah, in a 2 catcher league, I think it's more important. So I don't mind that there's 2 catchers taken in the 5th, but yeah, I could see the skepticism of Moreno,
Yeah,
you're right.
I say, yeah. So as a hate here, I'm going to stay close. I'm going to go in the 3rd round. And hold on, let me find them. He's around here. Here we go. Round 2. I apologize. I placed it wrong here on my notes. But Jake McCarthy in the end of the 2nd round.
Yeah, well, that was part of my other heat as well.
Yeah, and that's fine. We can have the same ones, but I understood the hype. I tried trading him as an option before we declared keepers, and I had him last year. I picked him up in the last half of the season, and he was great for stolen bases. I mean, he had 23 stolen bases and in half a season of bats. And his power numbers weren't bad. He had 8 home runs, so his projection was pretty good with a good batting average and good OBP. But the thing I didn't like about him, and the thing that really scared me off, outside of being a small sample size, outside of him really not projected to be that, but doesn't mean he couldn't, is that team and that outfield is so crowded. You have Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas. I don't remember their other depth at the moment. But that team was pretty stacked. And I felt like it just left him no room for error. I had Lourdes Gurriel Jr. It was one of the guys. But I just felt like there's no room for him to, have any slumps basically. And
yeah, he's not even he's not starting for them even.
Right. And that was my fear. Right? So for me to take that risk, in the 3rd round, when we go back and we already hit upon these guys, but go down to like the rounds we already talked about, the Castellanos, the Suzuki's, some of these other guys that I get that outfield was thin. So I can understand like the need for it. But to me, I just feel he was a really high risk at that spot,
Reeks of desperation.
Yeah, or at least like really buying into the hype, and I get it. I've done that too. But he wasn't the guy I was really buying into, So in the 3rd round, I was happy he went, And still, after the first month of the season, I'm still really happy he went. You know?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Who's up? Is it Harris? You're up?
I'm up.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
believe so.
What players I hate?
Yeah. And if you're out of it, that's fine.
I mean, part of it is also ties into Jake McCarthy. Every outfielder taken in the second and third round, which I think there was only two, right? Only two outfielders went in the second and third round: Jake McCarthy and
Taylor Ward.
And Taylor Ward.
Well, Andrew Vaughn, even though he's probably picked as a first baseman.
Right. Okay. So those are the only two guys taken, right? So then once you drop down to, like you said, the Suzuki's, I mean, it just shows you that, like, it wasn't worth the, I mean, in my opinion, only 3 weeks in, it wasn't worth the risk.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
wait. Like, just, I know we're all desperate for outfielders probably with, you know, that many keepers, but, you know, reaching on a guy like McCarthy, it's just
Yeah.
super risky.
I agree. I went into this, you know, because Harper was on the DL, right? Like I had Luis Robert as my only outfielder, compared to like everybody else that had 10 keepers probably had at least 2 outfielders, I'm
Right.
guessing, or 3. So I was like in that same boat. I was like, damn, I need outfield, and there's none
Right.
to be taken. But I wasn't going to take Jake McCarthy. Like my first outfielder was Jeff McNeil, who's outfield eligible in the 4th round.
Yeah.
And that's when like Castellanos, I could have grabbed Castellanos or Suzuki and those guys. I think they're all kind of, I went McNeil just because they're reliable on base percentage. But
yeah, no, and that's like a perfect pick for you. Like that's your type of player.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. And you knew you're going to be a little bit outfield light, you know.
Yeah.
At least till Harper comes back, or you try to trade for Judge, but we'll see what comes first. Yeah.
And I had my plan early on in the draft was to draft Casas, who might be the worst first round pick of the draft. I think he is by far.
Well,
and
He hit a home run today.
Nice. And I'm playing you in the Yanks League, right?
That's right.
That's good stuff.
That's what I think is cool about breaking down the draft, is that, like, we can look back on it and, like, you know, like, it happens every year. Like, you know, like, everybody's, you know, stressed for outfield or stressed for pitching or whatever.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Sometimes it, like, pays off to, like, let that little rush go, right? Like, everybody's jumping on catcher, everybody's jumping on outfielder or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, let them go. Don't panic and wait till, like, later rounds. And guys like, you know, I don't know, Suzuki or whoever falls to you later on, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of the beauties about this league is that it's very, very deep. And everyone has different needs. I mean, deep is in terms of roster goes, but it makes the draft shallower.
10 players.
But yet deep is in terms of we're going to go deep into MLB rosters. But everyone has different needs, you know. So I think that's one of the reasons why pitchers last so long, is a lot of us had a bunch of pitchers, you know, kept or drafted early. So that need wasn't there. So just suppress that value so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Just in sake of time, I'm going to give you like my last 2 hates.
Yeah, please.
The 5th round was Nesky by Delirium. Thought that was a little early for him.
Okay.
Especially
Another hype guy.
Believe the hype. Yeah.
Especially with Blake Snell, Musgrove.
Right. Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then my next one was Harris's pick of Josh Rojas, who I think is a little bit early, but that could be wrong as well.
I have him also on my hate list.
And
he was one of the guys I was debating to talk about. And we talked about this when we were breaking down the draft that night. My fear, and I had Rojas last year in one of the leagues, and I used him because the appeals that he played all over. And he did decently last year in 2022.
He was so decent.
At least as far as like as like a backup or like injury guy for me is what I looked at him. 350 OBP basically, you know, 9 home runs, 23 stolen bases. But I guess my thinking is that, like, to me, I look at him as like a straight utility guy. Like he could be a guy I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't drafted or really super late by a team that really needed like depth at like Matt was saying, he's light in outfield, or some people are really light at corner infield or middle infield. So like he was a guy to me that I would find would go there. So it's not that I don't like the dude. I just feared I didn't even know if he was a starter at the time.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
looks like
Well,
he
20
is.
Yeah. I think what really sold him was the 23 stolen bases. But I mean, he's a third baseman. He's got a hit for power. He only had 9 last year.
No, I hit 9. Yeah.
And I don't really think he's going to be coming close to 20. I just think that he could fall off, big time.
Yeah. And I guess part of my thing was Longoria was so surprisingly good last year that when you looked at that lineup, you knew he wasn't playing second base with Ketel Marte there. He's not playing first with Christian Walker. He's not playing shortstop with, because he can't necessarily as well as these guys, but Perdomo or Ahmed. And then I thought Longoria was still going to be third base. So I don't know if it's whether the injury or age or just sheer production, but that's why I thought Rojas was just going to be a util guy. If he's not a util guy, yeah, I get that he's going to be, drafted, but I'm just going to take a wild guess here and go to round 28. And to me, the difference between him and Escobar in draft time
Right.
probably really isn't that different,
Yeah. Right.
or Bryce Terang, the Miguel Rojas. Is that where he went? He went in the 30th round. No,
Miguel Rojas.
he went. I'm thinking of Vargas. My bad.
Miguel Vargas. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Vargas was kept, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think he was a caper.
I think he was too. That's why
I traded
surprise.
Vargas. Yeah. I traded Vargas last year for Nolan Arenado.
Right. Yeah. Real quick, Harris, you drafted Chris Taylor in the 27th round. I like that pick, and I think that I would be fine if you reverse Chris Taylor and Josh Rojas.
Yeah. No, I just kind of always had a man crush for Josh Rojas. I don't know why. I just kind of watched the guy play.
Yeah.
I've had him for the last 2 seasons. He's kind of been my guy that fills in when other guys are off, and he always seemed to produce. He always seemed to produce for me.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
if your third baseman steals 23 bases, as long as he's hitting for power, I'd be
Right.
all in. But
Right.
I just
He's
don't
not.
know.
He's not hitting for power.
Yeah.
No.
And he won't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So last love hate guy you had there. I won't spend too much time on this because I agree we can move on. But round 8 I had with Syndergaard, Stoner's pick there. And all the things we talked about, how deep pitching was. I mean, I think I loved Syndergaard. I was thrilled when I got him from JP early in my SADL career. It had to do with a Buxton deal. And I was legitimately behind the fact that he was going to be one of the next aces. I kept him for a few years. I mean, the dude is a physical specimen. He's hence nicknamed Thor,
Right.
I mean, but my problem is, we've talked about this to some degree. It's some pitchers are pitchers and some pitchers are throwers. And I think for the most of his career, Syndergaard was a good thrower. And now I don't think he's a good thrower. And I think he's a better pitcher, but I don't think he's a good pitcher. And now he has less stuff. So I don't buy it. I think that he's an injury risk. The best thing he had going for him was that he had an okay season last year in 2020 and 22 between the Phillies and the Angels, and even that, right, not that impressive. 3.94 ERA, 1.25 WHIP, 134 innings and 95 Ks. That is opposite of what he used to be,
right?
And
for sure.
Yeah, and so now he's older, pitches slower. The only saving grace for him is on the Dodgers. But as round 8, when we talk about all those other guys that went, Pablo Lopez and Drew Rasmussen's, and I mean even this Gosselin and Detmers and all the pitchers that we've hit upon. I just think that pick was a total waste.
Yeah.
So
Indeed.
Sorry, Stoners.
Stoners took a beating in this round.
Yeah. You got another hate, Harris? Ended on that?
Well, I'd like to go with the 2 picks of the draft, in my opinion, are in round 27.
Wait, so hold on. So good or bad?
Good.
Okay. All right.
The 2 picks of the draft, best picks of the draft so far, after 4 weeks in round 27 is Jersey Jobbers with James Outman and effing Matt with Spencer Steer. My two favorite players, my two favorite late round picks right now, around 27.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I think the Outman pick is a no-brainer. He's one of the guys we would talk about. The young guys that are playing hot. I mean, this guy's playing out of his mind right now.
Right.
What's he on pace for? It's got to be crazy.
Might not last for sure.
There might be some regression.
I mean,
right.
Trent Grisham went right before him.
Yeah, which I didn't mind either.
No, I didn't mind that either.
As far as like what you're going to get out of him. But
and Trevor Lanark.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. I think
Sal Frelick.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing with Outman, and we were chatting a little bit about this through text, is that, and I think this is cool, is that in today's world with all of the content that's out there and all of like the slobbering over young guys coming up and then giving them no chance to develop, right? I feel so bad for these guys, people like Chris Bryant and, you know, Cody Bellinger come out and do what they do. God forbid a rookie takes a couple years to, you know, develop. So the fact that Outman is in LA and I guess apparently was, you know, destined to start to some degree shortly close to the end of spring training. And he's basically a rookie. We heard nothing. We heard no peep about him, no hype whatsoever.
Yeah.
He was basically drafted as maybe he gets a job starting and he plays for the Dodgers, not as in like a high, you know, prospect pedigree.
No.
Yeah,
when was he drafted? Anybody know?
Outman?
Yeah.
I think it was like 7th round.
In you're talking for like in real MLB?
Yeah, in real life,
yeah. I didn't really know anything about him coming in.
Yeah, real life. He was drafted the 7th round of the 2018 draft.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, nobody knew anything about him.
That was that same round we were looking at just a little while ago.
It could be like, you know, a month from now, he could be like James Who, like, you know what I mean? Like he could be nothing.
Yeah.
It could be. It could also be like Paul Goldschmidt, where he was drafted in what, like the, you know,
right.
Yeah, I know.
Who knows? Yeah.
The dude had 31 homers, 106 RBIs his 22 year in AAA.
In AAA.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And we didn't hear peep.
Good,
Isn't that amazing though? Like that's the most amazing thing is that like in today's world where they're so hyped and they're so on these guys, we didn't hear peep about them.
Yeah, and what did the Dodgers do? They only produce like rookies of the year, like fucking crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So Goldschmidt, real quick, drafted by the Dodgers in the 49th round in the 2006 draft.
Right.
Really? He wasn't redrafted or anything?
Nope.
That was the round he was picked
off. No, you're right. He went back and and Diamondbacks drafted him in the 8th round in 3 years later, 2009. Yeah.
It's impressive still.
I still knew he was, I didn't think he was 49th, but yeah, right, correct. 8th round. All right. So let's hit upon, we could probably do this kind of quick, but Harris kind of led us off, a good segue into young guys. So Spencer Steer performing super well. Outman's probably the king of that pack. Matt, any young guys that kind of fit that bill for you?
Adley Rutschman, just from what I've seen from Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore is just loaded with so many good young players.
Yeah.
But really impressed with the way that dude, you know, just takes at bats, and he's been really impressive to watch.
What's he done so far? Has he done much so far?
He's
kind of cooled down, but he was shot out of the can in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah. Who has him here?
What about Corbin Carroll, baby?
Corbin Carroll's been playing like a stud too, man.
Hold on a second.
I'm not surprised.
Where is Rutschman?
Is he Jersey Jobbers?
I don't think so.
Brent Rooker just hit another home run.
Where the fuck is this guy? Oh, what does he have?
He's got him as Util guy. Interesting. He's got Bettencourt I like too. Well, so I guess the question is, Matt, were you not? I don't think you were actually. I think past our conversations, you weren't totally sold on him as being like the guy that could prospect. Okay,
I think I might even said like if a catcher is your best prospect, your team's not doing very well. But I was dead wrong.
He's pretty good though, right? For sure. For a catcher, he's pretty good.
I'm all in on him. I think that the dude is got the intangibles. I think he's probably the leader of that team already.
He's legit.
He can catch well, which is obviously key. And I mean, good. I mean, even just last year, as a rookie, catching, under 400 bats, 362 OBP, 13 home runs. I think you extrapolate that a little bit. Yeah. So this year, obviously, again, their projections are not going to, and I'm projected to be 30 home runs, 177 hits, and that team's definitely on the up and up, but look at his ball. Look at his K to walk ratio.
Yeah, wow.
You know,
It's crazy.
yeah. In
Well, it
today's
makes
game,
sense. 423 on base.
right?
That's why I have him as one of my wait to sees for like a top 5 MVP.
Okay, all right, yeah, we'll dig into that.
What's Spencer Steer doing this year so far?
He was another guy that started out on fire. I dropped him pretty early though.
You did drop him, didn't you?
You
Yeah.
dropped him?
And he didn't get
I
picked up,
did.
I don't think.
He got picked up.
Did he?
I
Okay.
tried to pick him up, but Matt's in charge of pickup, so I couldn't get him.
Okay.
Yeah, I made sure you were out of that one.
Let me see if I can find him real quick on pull in another resource here.
Shit.
I like him and Jonathan India. I mean, I know India hasn't done much, but
India's been great.
oh, he has been good. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
India's
Good,
been great.
good.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of small here, but Steer is 64 at bats, 382 OBP, 2 homers. Yeah, good ratios across. He's
Solid,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, he's solid.
He's on the green machines.
For 27th pick round for a 27th round pick, it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I like it. Rookie, yeah. But yeah, I don't know what I expect out of him. He's still not really on my radar totally, you know.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Who's Steer?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I don't think he's still like I think he's fine, but I don't
Right.
know. I don't think he's that
Right.
great.
Yeah.
Matt,
Green
you
machines
hit,
don't even have him starting yet. They're starting right now. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
he must be
Um,
slumping.
And the good thing is, you know, for the pace of all this and stuff, you hit upon some of the guys I wanted to talk about earlier. Young guys doing well. Stott was one of them. But one guy kind of fits both here. I was bummed I didn't get him because I wanted him in this league specifically. It just didn't fit into like what I was doing and blah blah blah. But he's also doing well. Is Josh Lowe from Tampa Bay?
That
And
indeed.
yeah, and my concern with him was well, one, some of the underlying numbers aren't still that great. They're still
No, they're not.
yeah, they're still a little
No.
bit off, but he's had the potential to be like basically a 2020 guy. And my other fear with him was the platooning aspect that happens in Tampa. The only thing
Right.
is he is on the strong side of that platoon. So being a left-hander, he's going to get most of the righties, but he started off great so far, you know.
He's looked really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what his minor league stats were, but I know that he's pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know, so I think he's
Yeah.
been a guy.
When did he get drafted? He got drafted pretty late, right?
I don't know if he got drafted. I
don't
picked him
think-
up.
No, he got drafted, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we can see it here.
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
I kind of was hesitant. I'm hesitant with anyone with the last name Lowe that plays for the Rays. That's just me. I'm not a fan.
Right. Yeah. You
But,
picked up Matt picked him up as a free agent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Otani almost got hit in the head.
So Harris, if you go into the full player profile and you go to service time here, you can see like where they were done.
What, in our league?
He was undrafted.
Yeah, he's undrafted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I love, and he's doing great. I love that pick there. Any young guys, Harris, you want to cover?
Let's see. Young guys?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I like Nolan Gorman.
Yeah.
I like Alec Thomas. I know he hasn't done much yet. But I would give Alec Thomas a chance.
I liked him. Yeah.
If I could trade for him, whoever has him.
This is an advertisement. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's he batting in that lineup? He's batting 8th. Okay.
Yeah, that's all right. Give him some time.
Yeah. No, it's still early. I got one last young guy that I think has been pretty awesome so far.
Yeah.
Hunter Brown.
Who is it? Hunter who?
Hunter Brown for the Astros.
Oh yeah, you drafted him like in the 10th round. I saw it.
Yeah.
Who you have him, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever drafted him was brilliant. I got him in the 12th round, dude.
We all wanted him. You just took him early.
12th round? I thought that
You
was
took him over like
pretty good.
really good pitchers.
Well, I think it falls back into how deep that pitching is, you know,
Right.
with all those guys. But I wanted Hunter Brown too. I think he was at the end of the season. I'm sorry, at the end of the spring training. I think he was coming off an injury and they weren't sure if he was going to start. So I think
Yeah,
that like
yeah.
just suppressed it a little more, combined with how deep our pool starting pitchers were draft wise.
You took him over Ryan. You took him over Patrick Sandoval. You took him over Edward Cabrera. You took him over Sonny Gray. You took him over Erod. There's a lot
I
of
would
guys
take him
you
over
took
all those guys except for Joe Ryan.
except for Joe
Yeah,
Ryan.
yeah, 100%. What
I-
round
I
did Joe
get
Ryan
it.
go?
Right after.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I like Hunter Brown too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got
I know Joe Ryan went the round before.
round before. Okay.
Yeah, he was 11th. So Hunter Brown went with like Senga,
Oh, he went to
Jack
12th. Right.
Flaherty.
Jack Flaherty's been great. What are you talking about? Look at his numbers.
He's awful.
Okay,
He's
Look
awful.
at Jack Flaherty's numbers.
let's take a look.
I don't have them, but look. At
He's
his
not even starting. He just
Look at
walked
his
3 guys.
last 20 games.
20 games. Don't do that. That's gonna ruin
20
your
games.
that's gonna ruin your argument.
Looking back at Little League numbers, come on.
Go look at Jack Flaherty. I mean, I don't have him, and I don't care about the guy, but I thought I saw something last night where they said he was pitching great the last 20 games.
I'm all out on Jack Flaherty. All
Yeah,
out.
I mean, he right now he doesn't look horrible. He's
Look
got
at his
27
numbers.
innings, 27 innings, 26
Look at his
Ks.
numbers.
Well, but hold on,
That's
we're
not
looking at his
bad.
numbers. No, that's not
Whip is
good.
ridiculous, though. His whip is horrendous.
His whip is horrendous. He's
Yeah.
got his K rate isn't good. Like, I mean, his ERA is good, right? And that's impressive because you
I
go
know
back.
nobody could hit him the other night when I was watching the game.
But
Nobody
again-
could hit him.
All right, I guess here's the thing with Flaherty. He was obviously close. He was an ace, a few years ago. Go back to for 2 years, you go back to 2018, he was an ace. He had 28 games. I mean, 8 and 9, that's hard to say, but 151 innings, 182 Ks, right? 3.34 AA, 1.11 whip. The next season, 196 innings, 231 Ks, 2.75 ERA with a 97 whip.
That's sick.
That's awesome. But that was
And then
2019.
then his arm fell off. I think.
Then his
Yeah.
arm fell off. And then this year, look at this game log, Harris. Look at his first game here, 4-1. He had 7 walks in 5 innings.
Oh wow, yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
In the next
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
5 innings, 6 walks.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Then he's gone on a
He
decent
righted the
stretch.
ship.
Yeah,
Decent.
5.1 innings with only 1 walk and 6 Ks, and 6 innings with 3 walks and 4 Ks. I still hate that ratio.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
like that either.
And then 6 innings, 3 earned runs. So it's a kind of that's his first quality start of the year, right? And quality
Yeah.
starts are lame anyway, with only 2 walks and 9 Ks. So to me, he's had one legit start that I'm happy with. And like 2 of those games were Arizona and Colorado. Not great.
Yeah,
It was
I-
at Colorado.
Whatever they were saying on MLB Network, they were saying like his last 20 games or something, he did something that was really good, but I guess not.
I don't know. 8
No, I mean,
Kentucky
he's still-
Fried Chicken.
Yeah. Now he's only 27, so I mean he's not like a senior citizen.
he's not old,
Definitely
yeah.
have a good year. That team's gonna be awesome. I figured like Hunter Brown, like his last year at AAA, just looking at the numbers, he had 100 innings, 134 strikeouts, a 2.55 ERA, WHIP was 1.085. I figured like I wasn't big on Senga. I wasn't gonna take a chance with that guy. So
No, I agree.
if I'm taking a chance, I was going to go Hunter Brown. He just looked good. He's starting, he was, I think by the time we drafted, he was locked in to be in the rotation. And, on that team, a starting pitcher for the Astros, they're all pretty incredible.
I love the Hunter
Is
Brown
he
pick. Yeah.
is he definitely going to be a starter though? Like he might end up being in the bullpen. No.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know really like who they're waiting to get back. Oh, McCullers. Yeah, they do have, they're loaded on pitching, but
I think he's going to be one of their best starters.
yeah, because a lot of those late guys, your Cordy, Garcia, they're also kind of like borderline bullpen guys.
Yeah, well, at least they can pitch their way out of the lineup, basically the rotation. That's what the word I was trying to look for. Yeah, as far as that rotation in general, I think right now he's slotted in as help if I go into the right team. He's slotted in as the 5th, but I don't know who's injured coming. Oh,
McCullers is the only guy they're waiting to get back, I think.
All right, so then he's pretty safe then.
I think so. McCullers going to be way off.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of jumping in here, maybe some guys that we were kind of like off on, like we were unsure of, like, I don't know, maybe in the past for you, that's like, to give an example, maybe it's someone like even Rutschman, maybe your mind wasn't made up, or you had a different opinion, or you just weren't sure. I know, like we talked about it at some point last year, like you've kind of been that way with Brandon Woodruff, you're like, haven't been all the way in on him at some point, maybe that changed. But so for me, this guy, Tyro Estrada was that guy, right? I really wasn't sure. He kind of came out of nowhere last year, and I just didn't know what I believed in. And I feared it, kind of like we would with Tampa, the way the Giants platoon guys, that was he going to be legit? Is he going to, my fear was he going to be David Fletcher, like a guy that had like a great stretch and then really is just like a AAA guy,
Yeah. Where was this guy drafted?
In our league?
Yeah.
Good question. Let's go back to that. So Jobbers got him. I'm going to say the 7th round is my guess here.
He was pretty hyped coming in the season.
In some ways.
Well, his stolen bases were very attractive.
A lot of articles were talking about him.
12th round. That's a great steal. Yeah. I love this actual stretch here by Jobbers. Rasmussen, Rendon, who I'm not big on, but like for the sake of like him bouncing back and being what he could be if he's healthy.
Yeah, that's
Ryan Estrada.
Yeah.
Even Crone was a good pick, and Grayson Rodriguez, Newbar, all solid. He's a good drafter.
Yeah.
But Estrada, you go look at his stats from last year, 488 games, 322 OBP. It's fine. And again, middle infielder, shortstop, 21 steals, 14 Ks. You're talking potentially 2020 guy, right?
Yeah.
And then this year, again, we can't do this at pace, but like he's on pace for 30-30. Like, so
I know.
if he slows down, does he get to 2020? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Which would be impressive.
I'm in on him.
Yeah.
And I guess that's my point. At the beginning of the season, I didn't know, or I wasn't confident of doing it. So he's kind of flipped the script. Anyone for you, Harris, that's kind of flipped your script there?
That's kind of
or that you're kind of bummed you didn't get. You just weren't surely sold on him. Matt did the Rutschman. I kind of did, or who'd you just say, Matt, before? Hunter Brown.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I guess I apologize. I guess I started it with saying he's a guy I was bummed I didn't get. Anyone like you're bummed you didn't get?
A guy that I'm happy that I did not get was Jose Barrios.
That's a good way to go too. I like that. We can do that. Yeah.
I mean, he went around 17 and he's looked atrocious.
He's been so disappointing.
So bad. What the hell, man?
Because you figure
he's been god awful for a while now.
He has. He has. And what's crazy about it is like you figure like the way he's been touted by to us is that he was going to be like a next ace. And early in his career, his pitches look like video games.
I almost took him multiple times too.
Yeah, but no, he has been awful. Last year, 5.23 ERA, 142 whip. I actually feel the worst for Toronto because they traded him, right? And that's one of those things, like when you trade with certain teams, you got to think like, oh man, did I get ripped off? So like if Minnesota's trading a pitcher, like who's supposed to be an ace, Toronto should have been a little more weary about it. But man, he was traded and signed to a big deal as like an ace. And
for sure. I know, what a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
Indeed. And I mean, that team is awesome. I think they're going to be probably better than they were last year. Toronto, that whole division is going to be wild, but they cannot have Barrios, Chris Bassett, and I think Manoah's kind of righted the ship with his last start. But like, if their pitching's not going to produce, the same way the offense is going to produce, they're going to be in trouble that division.
Big trouble for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. Any player, Matt, that you are disappointed on, you weren't sold on, or?
No, I think you guys touched on some good ones there. As far as guys that I was kind of hoping in the back of my mind to get, but I wasn't going to go crazy for, was Andrew Painter. I just going to take a flyer on him. I think Gerace got him in the 20th round.
Yeah. Which is a steal considering how much hype was going for him.
Yeah.
But he was injured coming into the season, I think.
Especially as we drafted so close. I don't even know if the news was out about him not necessarily fully needing Tommy John. you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, just one of the guys I had on my list that I was interested in.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Let's I guess a guy that kind of fell for me in there. We hit upon Joe Ryan. I had him on the list. Ashcroft, I was kind of bummed I didn't really get. Slightly, but I do have my same fears as we started with Lodolo, is that the ballpark scares me, the team scares me. So in a league like this where those ratios can get eaten up really quick, and then wins losses are so tough, so important, I didn't really want to risk that. But I do like him. I was kind of bummed I didn't get, but Rowdy Tellez. I think Harris took him, I want to say the 7th round.
Yeah.
That sound right? I know, Harris, you have him. Let me see where you got
I like the Brewers, man. The Brewers look good.
He was a guy that, again, using the viewpoint of, I was interested, like I wanted to dip my toe in. The 6th round, Harris took him. I wanted to dip my toe in, but I wasn't totally sure, but there was something like appealing that I wanted to try it. And especially being like a corner infield guy. But I think last year I had some interest in them, but they were still toying with that Keston Hira and Tellez combination at first base and DH. And so now that he has it all to himself, I just really liked it. You look at his last year, he had a full season, 35 home runs, 89 ribbies, 67 runs. Obviously that kind of sucks, but and only 3 of 6 OBP. So
yeah, he's batting as we speak, actually.
He's a power hitting first baseman, and this isn't, obviously, again, just having some fun with projections. Now his OBP's up. He's on pace for 51 home runs.
Right.
That team's better this year. He was a guy I wanted that I didn't get.
Yeah, I mean, teams like the Twins, the Orioles, the Brewers, the Cubs. I mean, they're so fun to watch. They're I don't know, like feisty teams. You know what I mean? They're built of like all these different players that are not superstars. They're just kind of like, hard-nosed baseball players.
Yeah. I agree.
I always root for guys like Tellez too, where like
really fun to watch.
The guys like David Wells or Bartolo Colon, that they don't look like they should be.
What are you saying? The overweight guys?
The guys that don't look like they should. Guys? Yeah, Vogelbach.
Dude, I throw Alejandro Kirk in that position.
Fire hydrant himself.
Yeah, unbelievable, dude. I was watching. They were playing the Yankees, and I was like, dude, this guy looks like he should be like out of Lord of the Rings, like one of those little
I know, right?
things. Yeah. I was like, oh my god, this guy's a professional baseball player. Amazing.
That's funny. That's great. All right, so we kind of hit upon the guys we wanted, kind of guys we didn't like, things like that. You want to chat a little bit about disappointments real quick?
Sure.
So Matt, you have a couple guys here.
Yeah, I'll kick us off. Well, my disappointment so far, and I think I texted you guys today, was just Gerace's start. I think that's a team to really watch. I think Master of Disguise is going to close strong. So I'm a little surprised by his the way his team has kind of started out.
Yeah, it's true. Ninth in our standings here.
The offense hasn't come alive yet, but the pitching, just looking at those numbers, he has 40 points pitching wise. I think the offense is going to come around pretty quick.
It's surprising too, because his offense is talented. I mean, Michael Harris coming back will help, right? If Alec Thomas does what Harris thinks he can do, cool. Ohape,
gets Altuve.
Yeah, soon. Right. Exactly. I think Mitch Garver, if he was healthy, I was going to use him as he's going to be a top 10 catcher by the end of the year. Is one of our things.
Probably.
But, still a solid catcher. Obviously, Vlad's a beast. Gorman, we already talked about. Ramirez is a monster. Franco's playing out of his mind finally.
Yeah.
We talked about Abrams, but that's a disappointment. Gunnar Henderson's been a disappointment, but I gave him a pass because, again, going back to young guys, it's fine. Will Myers has been fine. This is your guy, as Terry Rodriguez. He's actually playing pretty well.
Playing pretty well, yeah.
He is. Soto,
not Ricky Henderson just yet, but he's doing well.
Soto's been fine. He hasn't been the beast that he has, can be. Winkler,
what do you think it is with him? I mean, I mean, just going really quick on Juan Soto. Like the batting average is horrendous, but like his on base is still pretty decent. He's gonna be good. It's just like our team's like just pitching around him, just not giving him anything to hit. Like I don't get it.
It's all him. It's all him.
Is it? Yeah.
I think it's all him.
I was listening to, I forget what it was, but a podcast where they were hitting upon this a little bit. And they were saying that, of course he'll be fine, but he himself was talking about the same things that analysts were saying, was that like some of the underlying numbers, like exit velocity, things like that, were just a little bit down more than normal. So I don't know. Is there an underlying injury? Is he?
No, it's just I think it's totally his swing. I mean, when he swings for the fences, I mean, they broke it down the other night on MLB Network. When they talk about something about him swinging the bat like pretty much straight to hit for contact instead of at an angle to aim for the fences, basically. Like he's constantly wants to aim for the fences. But his batting average and his on-base percentage shows that when he swings the bat straight through instead of up at an angle, he hits the ball way better. But he wants to obviously crush the ball and hit the ball out.
So he'll make the adjustment, I'm sure.
Yeah, coaches are trying to get him to keep the bat straight, keep the bat going straight through the line. Like stop trying to put it at an angle.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's him. He's the one that needs to make the adjustment. For sure.
Yeah, he will. And once he does, that'll definitely help Gerace's numbers out. And what else does he have? He's got Josh Bell. I see there. He's been playing pretty well.
Yeah. Well, real quick, the one last thing I'll say about Soto, the only other thing I can think adds into it, and I know at least Harris and I are really tied into like the how much the mental side plays into. I'm not speaking for you either way, Matt, but I know that like there's definitely Craig and I definitely connect on the aspect of like all the things that are like, just the way they handle pressure and all that kind of stuff. Their egos and all that stuff plays into it. And I'm curious, obviously we'll never know this, but like Juan Soto was the man in Washington, right? It ended up being just him and his team. And he went on an insane start to his career. Now he goes to San Diego. Now he's going from being the head of the class in his own locker room to having to learn how to fit in with that giant ego and expectations with guys like Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, even things, good at, I'm sure Darvish doesn't, wield negativity in the locker room, but like, still a whole nother personality and the expectations that was cast on that team as soon as he got there. He was the savior for that team, especially with Tatis being out, and for the team to be, going deep into the playoffs, beating the Dodgers, things like that. Like, I just wonder how much he has been struggling as he like tries to find his footing with that role. But I think overall he'll be fine. But but even the rest of his guys are fine. Where Bell's been fine, Winkler, but Bohm, McCutcheon's playing out of his mind. McCutcheon is back to like MVP style McCutcheon.
Great.
I know.
And his bench we talked about is fine. Pitchers, Alcantara's been great. Gallen's been great.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually don't understand how Spencer Strider's been great. Maybe it's just the depth. Maybe it's the I don't know what's killing him here. Because he's got a good team. So you're right.
We're not like in the weeds with the numbers too. He could be like 2 runs away from like jumping up 5 points.
Right.
Still
correct. Correct. Yeah.
His team looks good to me. Yeah. Other than CJ Abrams. Take him the fuck out.
We're all out. Yeah.
Just bench.
Just going back to how we started, disappointments. Gerace's team, his slow start was surprising.
Yeah.
My team, just sticking with like Goldschmidt and Turner. I thought they would bring a lot more power early on.
Yeah.
But then Tristan Casas too. Very disappointed with the way he started out. Can't really put Hunter Green and Corbin on the list anymore. They kind of, I think, righted the ship too. Hunter Green, we still got to see, but he's kind of made an adjustment. I think his last start, so he's looking better.
Yeah, I can see that.
Can you stop picking up my flyers, please?
Which players did I pick on?
You took like my last 4 claims. What are you talking about?
Oh, sorry. And then Blake Snell was another one who is not playing to his potential yet. He's he'll be above average pretty soon. So I'm
I
happy
would
to see.
trade him. I would trade him soon if I was you.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a Blake Snell fan. I don't like him as a
Yeah,
like
he's awful.
personality.
Yeah.
He's not on my radar, but I also did pick him to be fair. Like I did pick him, as you heard me breeze by earlier, like as like a great pick in the draft, because I do think that he is essentially all said and done, like a top 20 pitcher, around that ballpark. But the thing I don't like about him is he's so streaky, and so he can have like a game of 6-7 games where he's not walking anyone and striking out 12 guys in 6 innings and just tearing it up. But then he'll go on a stretch with 3 games where he's walking half the team and lasting 3 innings, So
Yeah.
that's kind of like my issue with him, is just the consistency of it. But
I feel like all pitchers have been like crazy. Like I don't know if it's like the rule changes or what, but like pitchers have been. I mean, my best pitcher is Justin Steele at the moment. I mean, it's just
yeah, pitch has been rough.
pitching has been crazy, and I don't know why. I don't know why exactly, but it's been a little wild.
Yeah, no, pitching's been rough. Yeah, but yeah, I could see those disappointments. And then you also have Julio Rodriguez here.
Yeah, that was, again, this was like what, a week or two ago. So like by the time when I was writing this up, Julio Rodriguez had like 5 RBI. I think like the next night he had like 4 in the
right.
So,
He righted the ship. Yeah. Slow start. Any
I mean,
other guys?
We all know he's a stud. He's a stud.
Yeah. How do you feel about Manoah? Because I know he was on your list. You still?
Oh, Manoah.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked great. He looked great against the Yankees his last start, but before that, But I mean, like, what are you gonna say? Like Corbin Burns kind of got it going. I think a lot, like Craig said, a lot of pitchers are just kind of like getting their feet under them,
Yeah.
And I'm sure these
leagues,
the rule changes have to play into that.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason I brought him up because I saw him here as like a disappointment. I've been out on Manoah. Craig and I talked about it when we, during the off season when he's planning to take over the team from Dan and blah blah blah. And he had 2 great years here, and I think you had him at least one of these years, Matt. But I mean, what a great start for a pitcher. I mean, how can you argue with these stats? I sound like an idiot saying them out on him, but 20 starts in his rookie season, 111 innings, 127 Ks, 3.22 ERA, 105 WHIP. And the last year's even better. 31 starts, 196 Ks, strikeouts are down, still fine. But the WHIP and ERA is amazing, But there is some, and again, these are off sometimes because you have guys that just kind of beat the system, but and they don't always tell the whole truth. But some of the underlying numbers have been a little disarming. But I was definitely out on him, but he's been disappointed. But yeah, he finally had a good game last game. But I mean, started St. Louis with
awful,
3.1 innings, and I mean, he had a good second game.
Everybody,
even against the Yankees, he was awful. I mean,
the Yankees, he was good.
That was the last game.
That was his only good game.
Yeah.
2 hits.
Everything else, I mean, look at this ball K ratio here.
Right.
Awful. That is awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think I
don't trust the guy at all.
I mean, there's 3 things I like about Manoah. I like his team.
Right.
I like his size, and that sounds weird, but he's 6'6",
No,
285.
he's huge. He's a monster.
Yeah, and 25 years old. And I think he is, in terms of like his personality, I think he's a bulldog. Like I think he is I think he's a guy that's going to do everything he can to right the ship. And
think so?
I think he's a guy like I would want on my regular team.
What makes you think that?
Just interviews, that I've seen him on or heard him on, or some of the way other analysts, obviously I have no face-to-face time with them, but just those things, the same reason why I don't particularly like a guy like Jazz Chisholm,
I hope you're right about that.
Yeah. I mean, but he's a guy that like I buy into mentally,
That's cool. That's awesome.
Jeff likes him because he talks shit about the Yankees. That's what he likes.
Oh, is that why?
I didn't even think about that, but I like him more.
I knew there was something there.
No. Okay, so let's see. A guy I'm kind of saying like disappointed and concerned. It kind of is the same. We covered some of these guys. Jack Flaherty is one of the guys that I was kind of hit upon, but I just mentioned his name, so I'm gonna go here. And you guys already know the way I feel about him. But Jazz Chisholm, I'm slightly concerned, and I think he's been a disappointment for what what he is expected to do. Now, to be fair, the dude's got elite athletic talent. That doesn't mean he's gonna be a great baseball player. The dude is only 25 years old. So again, I'm the same guy that says rookies get a hard, young guys get a fucking hard rap and give him a break, give him a couple seasons. So I'm not saying Jazz Chisholm won't be great. I'm not saying Jazz Chisholm can't be great even this year for fantasy purposes, but I don't really like the same way I said about Manoah's makeup. I don't really like Chaz Chisholm's makeup, and I could be wrong. But there's something about him I just don't really believe in as far as him being, like Scott said this in text today, and we weren't even talking about it, but he says, I think Jazz Chisholm would rather be at the club than at the ballpark. And I kind of feel,
I don't think that's fair. I don't know.
Yeah, and it may not. And that's what I'm saying. I'm only pulling this from, again, like I'm not a reporter. I don't have any insight to it. I might be completely wrong here. But here's the thing I don't like about him. Well, I'm sorry. Here's the thing that powers like my statistical dislike for him. All the numbers are going way down this year. Chase rate, swing and strike rate, they're all bad. And then you look at this guy, right? He needs to get on base to steal. And his best attribute is his power steal combination, right? Power speed combination. But I mean, my concern is I'm already not in on him. I don't think he's an OBP guy. And to start, he's on pace. Again, he's on pace. Doesn't mean shit, because he's on pace for 23 home runs and 54 stolen bases is really good. Who the hell wouldn't want that? But he's also on pace for 46 walks and 254 strikeouts. Like, that is like,
I think there's some of that is first of all, the guy's trying like a new position, which the Marlins shouldn't have done at all. They should have traded for an outfielder, keep the guy where he is. Like, why are you putting this guy in center field? He does not look comfortable. I've seen like so many Marlins games to start the year playing the Mets, and just because I'm like, wanted to see like a lot more of these. They have a nice young team too. And
they do. Pitching staff's great.
Yeah. So they've been fun to watch, but he just does not look comfortable. Every fly ball into the outfield, he either makes a mistake or he makes the play, and it just looks so uncomfortable.
And I agree.
I think
Fielding
that might play into like why his offensive numbers aren't really there either. But again, I
agree with that. New positions have been shown to kind of decrease offensive production, defensively. I'm 100% in on that. And at the same time, going back into how we started this whole podcast about the bummer about a player drafting him so high and putting so much onus into Dalton Varsho is that if he's going to lose that eligibility that makes him so unique, then that's my fear with Jazz too. If he goes from shortstop to this outfielder, now outfielder has been a little bit weak, so that's fine. But really the appeal is not that he's a potential 20-40 outfielder. It's that he's a 20-40 middle infielder or 30-30 middle infielder, and he's not going to be after next year, but you get another year out of him, I guess, with it. But I mean, even when you go back to last year, obviously he didn't really play much, so we really only have 1 year to go off of. But in
the last 2, you're right.
I mean, when he played well last year. 14 homers and only 213 at bats, and 12 stolen bases, although the ratio wasn't that great. OBP's fine, but the year before that, which is really, to be fair, his rookie season, and so I don't think it's fair just to judge him off that. He's basically a 2020 guy. There's 18 and 23 stolen bases, but again, 303 OBP, not that great. And look at that K to strikeout ratio. I still hate it.
It's horrible.
But you saw like he was trending in the right direction in 2022.
He was.
It just sucked that it was such a devastating injury that he missed 90 games from.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's like, we've been talking about this and busting chops, and you guys made the trade, so like I made a bigger deal of it, of course. But like that combination of like the numbers aren't really like he's got elite athletic ability, but the numbers, like, behind the scenes numbers aren't really proven to be that great.
No, it's not that good.
And then you combine that with the injury, and then you combine that with my, hippy dippy out of left field. I don't think the dude has the balls of like Alex Manoah. And so I'm out, and he's been disappointing so far, but and another guy, just real quick, and then we can move on to something else here. it's not that he's been disappointing, but I'm kind of like over him in the same way I would be with Chris Sale is Christian Yelich. And I'm sorry, dude,
Wow.
because you got him on your team
Wow.
too.
Just killing him, dude.
Yeah, I don't mean to. I like a lot of the other guys, but
Yeah, let's take a look at Yelich. Because I was kind of hoping he would bounce back this year. And it's still early, but, you know.
and he's surprisingly like I have him in Locks League, and he's
Dude,
fine.
20 runs is not too shabby. Gets on base.
Right. 333, 5 stolen bases is
He
honestly,
looks like he's starting to turn it on a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the team context. I just like, like certain guys, like when like as like they're starting to come back a little bit and play through things, like I don't really get that worried about them. Let's say like Starlin Marte. Starlin Marte's had like a rough couple years, mostly between injuries. When he plays, he's good, but like there's always some concern that he might get hurt, I guess, right? But like when he plays, I don't really get concerned with him. I think he's going to do exactly what Starlin Marte does. I just don't know what player Christian Yelich is anymore, and so hence my concern.
That's the problem. We don't know
Yeah.
who he is.
Right.
Yeah.
His power game's gone, has been at least. He
For a
went from
while.
44 homers to, now granted he was hurt, but 44 homers to 12 to 9 to 14. And
Yeah.
you got to look at the trajectory he was going there, 18 to 36 to 44. Like back to 12. So I don't know. I'm slightly concerned on him.
Yeah.
But as a 3, he's fine.
Yeah.
Any other players that are super disappointing? Shall we? And if not, maybe we
Can you look at who's got Alex Bregman? He was like a couple of weeks ago. He was another guy with super slow start.
He smacked a homer today.
Yeah, so that. I mean, I'm just surprised with his slow start.
You know what? No, Gerace traded him.
Oh,
yeah. Where did he go? Hold on.
He is on Green Machines.
Yeah, he got traded. I forgot about that deal. Let's take a look at his stats here. Yeah, I mean, he's always a good OBP guy too. And I think you might be feeling it a little more because you took him in the second round of the Yanks draft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're probably feeling it a little more. But yeah, I mean, I guess you look at his on pace. Yeah, he's only on pace for 14 homers and 22 doubles. Yeah. But I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I could see the disappointment.
Yeah, more concerning. Just I think Chris Bassett. Not like he's a huge talent, but like Chris Bassett was pretty reliable the last couple of years, and he looked horrible so far.
I don't know if you remember this, but I've been all over Bassett since he was in Oakland. Right, I had him, I drafted him, I took him last year. Did I keep him last year? I might have. I don't know. I think I might have just drafted him, but I've been on him. But I was out on him this year. And yeah, but he did have a good game last game. I think the last 2. Yeah, 6 innings. Yeah. So he started off really bad.
He's a solid pitcher. He's like a Miles Mikolas type pitcher.
Yeah, I think all said and done, like if they're playing the same ballpark, same team, I think he's better. But but I mean, you got to forget he's 34 years old too.
Similar,
Mikolas is older too. But yeah, I was out on him too this year, Matt, and I kind of am not surprised he's doing really bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's still early. Last 3 games he pitched went 6 innings. Not horrible. I think he could turn it around, but just surprising that he was that bad that early.
Yeah. I guess 2 more that I see here on the list. Harris, you had as a surprise player, you had we hit upon McCutchen and Castillos you liked.
He's been great,
and Muncy to hit a couple guys.
And
I see you got a couple of my guys there. India, Nate Lowe, Detmers. India's been really solid, man. I have to say, like, so I had him, I kept him, and then I traded him. He run rookie of the year, but so I didn't have him last year, but he's back to his ways, man. 389 OBP, 4 stolen bases, power numbers are quiet so far. But I think he's going to end up.
I think he's probably a pretty solid 280 hitter, I would think.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so. I think more so it's like the OBP will at least be like, that 330 range. I mean, his rookie season, 376 OBP, and he started off pretty rough too. But
Yeah.
He was rookie of the year, right?
yeah, he's rookie of the
Yeah.
year. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
awful last
Yeah, I
year.
think he's going to be a good. Yeah. I think he's going to be a good contributor this year for sure.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah, and he came in hurt last year. It was tough too. And
Mm.
the other player, Harris, I see you have listed here for a surprise, which is obviously no surprise at the moment. And we'll get it. Don't do your bold prediction yet, but Max Muncy.
Dude, I was all in on Max Muncy.
Screw that guy.
He's an on-base percentage monster.
He is. I was in on him too, man. I tried him last year, figuring like because he was so suppressed with his injury, and I had to make the decision. I let him go last year as a keeper. And then he was coming off Tommy John, and I thought maybe he'd be better, but I was in on him this year. I just couldn't get him.
Yeah.
So who has him here? Green Machines. I wonder where they got him, because I think he was a good pick.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
Yeah.
7th round, I think.
7th round.
Something like that.
Might be a better way to do this. 5th round. Yeah, still, I mean, obviously still solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I think the only other kind of player that I would say that I've been surprised with, well, I guess 2 players I want to cover super hit upon a couple guys really quick. Bassett, I was in agreement with you. But Yandy Diaz, right, from the Rays. So I liked him because he's all the things we talked about. He's on base and whatnot. But he has been such a line drive guy that he's been super, just all he's good for is OBP, and that's it. And so let's see how I can find him. There we go. But I don't know if you ever saw. Did you ever see this guy's physique? The dude
it feels like he's been hitting the ball for like years now.
Yeah, he's a good hitter. Have you ever seen this guy like with his shirt off or with the shirt on? The dude is Google some pictures. The dude is
What kind of podcast is this, dude?
The dude is a monster, right? And look at these OBP numbers. You go back to 2017. 352, 375, 340, 428. The dude's an OBP beast.
Yeah.
So
he's off to a great start.
I always pick him up in every single league I've ever played in.
But his home run numbers are so god awful. I mean, look at him, 0, 1, 14, 2, 13. So his counting numbers suck too. But this year it seems like he's getting more lift, if he can put it together. So he was one of the guys I was super like kind of had in the back of my mind, but surprised off his start because I just didn't expect the power numbers. And another guy I was kind of unsure of, not because he hasn't done it before, but because I was just concerned about some things I was hearing in the back end was preseason was Kevin Gausman. And
love him.
Yeah, and he's been a beast, and like he's again one of those guys where I just didn't know, as soon as he started off. I remember the first 2 games he started kind of rough. It was okay. Yeah, first game was good.
So good.
Yeah, he's been solid, man.
He has been. I think what it was as I'm watching those games, I watched I think the first 2 games of him pitch, and it just like he looked like he was laboring, and I think I had in the back of my mind some of those like underlying like velocity numbers and things like that like swing and strike rate, all those things that he just was not producing really well. But like he's another guy that just might be better than the numbers think he's going to be, but he's a guy.
Watch his last game versus the Yankees. He fucking dominated.
Yeah,
him and Manoah, they both dominated.
So good. Well, yeah, that might be. I don't know what that was, but Gausman's legit.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then I know I'm hogging it here, but there's one more guy that I was all in for.
Of course,
let's make this quick. Let's
go in on the draft. Got him everywhere I could in every league, in the 2 out of the 3 I could, and and he just was, I liked what he was doing in spring, but I also going back to like we don't give these rookies a chance. I mean, he's on a
Yeah.
great pace. Again, this isn't going to
Yeah.
happen, but the fact that he's hitting lefties, the fact that he's actually hitting this early in the season, my fear was not that he couldn't,
cold.
not that he couldn't do these numbers. My
Yeah.
fear was that he would start cold and get back into his head.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things,
but like we'll see how he handles it.
yeah.
Yep.
One of the things I liked that I heard was that this was the first year he let anyone else into his like training regimen, where I think before it was really powered by his like family and his unit that he came up with. And apparently this year, I forget if it was Driveline or whatever he did, but it was the first time he let outside people come in and actually help get over some of the things he's been struggling with.
Good.
So yeah. So the fact that he's off to the hot start that was also combined with spring, to me at least, has me more of a believer that all those things are connecting. It's not just like this fluky, little thing. And he's got the pedigree background, but
he was a top draft pick, right?
Top draft pick and number one prospect.
Yeah,
Right.
he's a huge prospect.
Right.
So
Yeah.
doesn't mean he's going to do those things, but
No.
all those dots connecting seem to like make a little more, positivity going. What do you say? You guys want to do bold predictions and then bounce? Or you got any more surprises real quick?
Yeah. I just want to do one more. We got to look at Matt Chapman's numbers.
I knew it.
This fucking guy.
Yeah.
It's
And I love Matt
Dude,
Chapman,
he's
right?
so
one of my
good. How
favorite
could you
players.
not love? How could you
I'm
not?
I'm not a big Chapman guy. That's why I'm
Why?
so
Because
surprised.
he's in your division.
No. I respect the on
He doesn't
base
like those
percentage.
not OBP guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
right,
like what he's doing right now, he's actually making contact. He's putting it all together.
Crushing.
So the thing, when I know I drafted him and kept him in the 2018 season because I had him during those 2 great years in Oakland, 42 home runs, 36 home runs, right? OBP is good, 356, 342. The thing I liked about, and the reason why I took him there then was, and ever since, his barrel rate and his like exit velocity, all those things have been like elite, but the past couple of years he's really struggled with injury. I don't know if you guys know, but he had that really, really bad hip injury.
Yeah.
And
wow.
missed what was it? He missed a lot.
That must have been 2020.
Yeah, and it was that off season. Well, remember 2020 was a shortened season though.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was but it was coming, so he got hurt during that season, but it lingered. It was off season thing that lingered into the year he got traded. But he just took a downfall, and then you go back, then you go to a new team, and now I think between him being comfortable, the team being really good, him being over injury, I mean, I'm in.
Dude, he's crazy. 27 doubles last year. He already has 10 in the month of May.
I know, right?
It's crazy. Yeah, this guy's gonna be good. I think that whole team is gonna be
Quite good. He's been good for a long time.
He's all right. He's turning it up.
This is the
He's
best
good
team he's
for a long
had,
time.
right? You figure if he put up 36 home runs, 91 ribbies, 102 runs in Oakland, then they were good teams back then. But what can he do in Toronto?
Oh, dude, he's gonna be a monster. He's
I
gonna
know,
be
right? It's ridiculous.
very scary.
But still, as much as he's been a beast, as much as I'm a fan personally, and it sounds like you guys are too, he slows down. He's still going to have slumps.
Yeah.
Any other guys you want to cover before we jump into our final thing here? We do kind of bold takes.
I'm good.
Jump into some bold takes.
Let's do some bold takes, guys.
All right. Well, it is at the right term, but it's kind of on that capacity. Since Harris is watching MLB Network there, I'll start it off and then we'll go. I'm gonna go with it because we've bounced around it a couple times, and it's I'm already on the Harris bashing train. But and this isn't necessarily a bold take, so I'll start with the latest one. But the take I had, and again, we wrote this last week, and so the fact that he slowed down has only added to my help, but also not made it so bold. But my bold take was that he won't best last year's totals by much. He'll have a handful of RBIs and a handful of home runs, but he'll be worse in batting average and OBP. And my issue with Mountcastle is not that Mountcastle isn't a good baseball player. It's not that I wouldn't want him as my first baseman. I would love to have Mountcastle on the Phillies right this second, and I think that even when Rhys Hoskins is back, like I'd be fine with Mountcastle being a first baseman and we getting rid of one of those guys if he was cheaper than Hoskins or whatever. So it's not like I dislike him totally as a player. My issue with Mountcastle is, statistically, he's had such a great start, right? And again, he slowed down the past week, but still, his OBP is awful. His batting average is awful. His walks to strikeout is awful. And so, he's still a young player. 2021, was his first full season. He played almost all of 2020 because he played 135 games that season, and he did fine. But 33 home runs is great for a rookie season. That's fantastic. Then last year the fences moved back and that ballpark became hard. And so obviously his home run totals come down. It's only his second season. He has 22 home runs, 85 ribbies, 62 runs. That's fine. 305 batting average. That's fine. My issue isn't that like he's doing that. My issue is, what do we expect this dude to be? Like Craig had mentioned at one point, and maybe in his bold somewhere, and I don't know if it's on this list, bold predictions, but Craig mentioned Mountcastle could be Matt Olson. And to me, there's no way. Mountcastle is basically the first baseman version of Jorge Soler, that all he can do is hit home runs and hope there's guys on base, because he's not going to do anything else. He's going to be awful at OBP. He's going to be awful at average. He's going to be awful strikeout walk ratio, runs, whatever. So yeah, I think in the end, no matter, even though he started super hot, even though right now he's projected to be 46 home runs, 154 RBIs, 146 runs, I think he ends up much closer to 2022. I think he ends up with 85 to 90 ribbies. Maybe
well, just look at his 21 and 22 numbers. They're almost identical.
Right.
I think that's kind of where he's going to end up. I agree. I'm in the same thing. I think he might be a 30 home run guy. It wouldn't shock me. And he might even, with this better team, he might even get into like the 90 or 100 RBI.
I was looking for a breakout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that on base percentage getting any better, which is my turn off.
Right.
Yeah. And again, I went with, a very light bold prediction, and the bold prediction was written a week earlier when he was leading the league in home runs or second to Hewitt, but I don't know. To me, he's just nothing special. He's just a dude,
Yeah. In that lineup, I guess I was kind of hoping or thinking that he could be, breakout candidate.
Yeah. No, I get it. And I'm not against it. It's not like a long shot. Like you took him in the first round. But yeah. Okay. So Harris, any bold predictions here?
Bold predictions?
Yeah. I see a couple you have listed here. I could read them off to you if it helps.
Yeah, read them off. I don't remember.
Well, we just hit upon this one, so we don't have to spend too much time on it. But Max Muncy hits 40 home runs. You have listed.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I'm in. Yeah,
I'm
in. You in, Matt?
Max Muncy hitting 40 home runs.
40 home runs.
Hit 40 home runs.
How many does he have now?
Probably 20.
He's got, I think, 12.
Let's take
11.
a look. Dude, he's got 11 home runs already.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
He's hit 35 were his highs.
He's not getting to 40.
And 36. 35, 36.
Nah,
That's pretty
the
impressive.
only reason he's 32 years old. I don't think he's going to get to 40 home runs.
Okay. All right. He's projected for 77.
I sense some regression.
Here's my bold prediction.
Mm-hmm.
You're making this shit up on the fly?
Sort of. Jose Ramirez wins MVP.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right. I mean, I'm in agreement with that. Maybe. I don't. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know if it's bold.
It's not bold?
Yeah, it's like saying Rafael Devers is going to win MVP.
Yeah.
Well,
He's got a pretty good shot.
He's been a beast.
Has he won it? Has he won it yet? I don't
Nah.
think so.
I don't
Has
know.
Ramirez won an MVP?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
He's always behind somebody.
All right. Well, you got a couple other ones here, Harris, that we can probably hit upon too. So, Matt, you had a couple there. What else you got?
Well, I'm going to stick with my original. The Adley Rutschman will finish top 5
All
MVP.
right. All right.
Top
Yeah.
5 in what?
That's bold.
MVP.
No, stop it.
That's why it's bold. I like it.
You're going to see. You're going to learn, Harris.
I
That's
like it.
That's horrible.
Oh,
I'm going to go with it.
All
Max
right, all right.
Muncy, lucky if he hits 36 this year. Anyway,
All right. I like it. All right.
That's my first one.
I like it. All right, cool. One of my bold ones. I'll go I'll go with probably my boldest. And it's not like it's crazy, right? But Brett Beatty from here on will have the second most home runs on the Mets.
On the who? Oh,
On the Mets.
On the Mets?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not saying much.
That's not saying much. Yeah, I'm trying to
No?
think.
Anybody could have the second most home runs on that team.
Well, remember he just came up, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you
I
know,
like
I don't know.
Stacked with power.
I like him.
Alonso.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys expect of him. I mean, the dude can
I like
launch,
him.
but who has more home runs, Alonso or Beatty? Alonso.
Yeah.
Who has more home runs, Francisco Lindor or Brett Beatty?
That might be.
I would take the bet for Lindor.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe.
Now, part of it is I'm saying that Beatty's going to stay up and perform. I'm not just saying that like he has the potential to do. I'm saying he is going to do the second most. He's got probably the second most power on there, but he's a rookie that has played 1 week of MLB games so far.
I like
that's a bold prediction. I'll allow it.
Nimmo, let's say he hits 15, maybe Marte hits, if he's lucky, 20, McNeil 15, maybe 20, Canna 15, 20, Vogelbach 20, but
there's not a lot of power on that lineup.
How many rookies are hitting 20 home runs?
It's Alonso.
Yeah.
So
so not breaking the world, but that's kind of my bold there. Harris, help you kind of read some of your lists. You had I like you have a couple here I really like. Drew Rasmussen is a top 10 pitcher.
Yeah, it's my boy.
All right, I like that.
Even though I don't have him on any team.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I just like what he does on the field.
Are you in on him, Matt? You're not.
No, not 100%.
Yeah.
Rasmussen, you're not in on Rasmussen for real? Why?
I mean, every guy on Tampa Bay usually does decent, but they'll need to see more Rasmussen.
I can understand that.
I get it. Yeah.
His numbers are super consistent. Look at his last 2 years
It
ERA and
looks, I know, it looks so good.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, 146 innings is that's his first real year.
Right.
And numbers are great. They look good. He's not a strikeout guy, so I don't know how he's going to crack the top 10.
I think my biggest fear with him is he had 2 Tommy Johns already.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's 27 years old. They don't get better with age.
Yeah, but I do like him. But I think that's a pretty bold pick. The top 10
is pretty bold. Yeah,
I like the call because I think it's also doable. I mean, considering that McClanahan's on the same team, he's easily going to be top 10
for sure. McClanahan's probably number 1.
He's probably he's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Matt. What do we got? Are we on your third one?
Let me see. I forget what I picked, but I know
Rutschman.
Acuna winning MVP and Atlanta winning the East. Those aren't really that bold predictions.
Yeah, I like both those.
But I think that both of those are going to happen. I think Acuna's playing at a super high level. He's leading the league in hits.
Yeah, he's been insane, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That whole lineup is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that team is really the team.
Ridiculous. The team.
We missed any opportunity to get him from JP last year.
Yeah, I know. And I just, their pitching might not make it. That's the whole thing. Again.
Yeah, he's got 12 stolen bases already.
Yeah, health is his only thing, man. And he's looking lights out right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that team's gonna be good. I think they'll win the East. It's gonna be tough. They got a lot of competition there, but that team on offense alone, I think, is just gonna be elite. Yeah. And if Kyle Wright stays healthy,
their pitching's pretty good.
It is, but really it's always spotty. Fried's already been injured. Kyle Wright.
No way, dude.
Arm fall off any day now.
Strider, Fried, Morton, are you nuts? Their pitching's fucking good.
Morton's older than all of us, dude.
Their pitching is good. You're crazy.
I think you guys are both right. I think
is good. I think
Harris. I think you're right in terms of they have Strider's an elite ace. It seems. Fried would be an ace, but I think he's more so like a really safe 2. He's like a really good Aaron Nola, but it's crazy consistent. Really no health issues. He's one of those guys I talked about earlier, a thrower and a pitcher. He's a pitcher, and he's smart. He's like kind of almost like a Glavine-esque type guy, where Obviously the game's different, but he's not throwing max effort every single pitch. I'm not afraid of his arm falling off, but and then Charlie Morton, could be. But I think the thing, like, they're like a team like the Cardinals or the Rays, where like they just produce pitching, and so whether it is Elder or Dodd or Schuster, or last year Strider,
they have pitching.
Ian Anderson, as I think that they have depth, and I think the guys actually do know how to pitch, but they do have some question marks. But I think that they're deep enough to like make 5 work at a given time, especially with 2 really strong ones and such a great offense and defense.
Right.
But
I like Bryce Elder too. Everything I've seen from him has been really good.
Yeah, he has been good.
And the Schuster guy, I mean, really, how can you judge him on like a couple of starts? But
and
like,
Soroka's apparently
don't
really
forget
good.
about Soroka. Yeah, I agree.
No, he doesn't have any Achilles. He's got 2 rubber bands on his heels. But well, sticking with the Braves, one of your bold predictions there, Harris, was that Matt Olson wins MVP, and I like it.
I'm just all over the Braves this year.
Yeah.
They look so good.
It's a good one. Well, let's stick with it just because it adds another Brave in here. Another one of your bold predictions. The final one I see on here is that, and I like this, Gleyber Torres outproduces Ozzie Albies. I like that too. Torres has been really solid. I mean, I know he took a hit the past week, but he's been great, and
he's had some really awesome at bats. He looks like a different player.
He does, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't. I still think Albies is going to outproduce him at the end of the year.
Well, I think it's a safer bet for sure. Hence like the boldness of it. But I think what's nice about Gleyber, the only reason I would even consider that is because Glaber's stealing bases.
Right.
Not that I expect him to do it all the time, and 4 caught stealings does hurt.
That hurts.
It does
for
hurt.
sure.
But I mean, there are some other, good things going on. He had a decent year last year. He had like a little bit of like a resurgent kind of, there's some uptick to like his downfalls the past couple of years, because obviously
he's got 16 walks.
I'm
happy with that.
I mean, his walk and strikeout ratio is great.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
But I mean, his at bats look really comfortable.
This goes back to like the Moncada idea, right?
Yeah.
Number one prospect at one point, basically. He's on a good team, good offense, good ballpark. He's only 26 years old. He's done it before. And why can't he do it again? So I had Gleyber as a keeper. I traded him. I dropped him in Locks League as a keeper, but I'm kind of regretting it now. I think he's actually I think he's going to have a pretty good season. Yeah,
it feels like Gleyber could have like his final like breakouts type season. Like he could finally be comfortable and finally break out. Hit 275 ish, maybe.
Yeah.
Like really have a good season.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he does. Yeah. You guys know last trade deadline that the Yankees and the Marlins almost made a trade. It was Gleyber Torres for Pablo Lopez.
Wow.
But the Yankees didn't pull the trigger because they wanted Miami wanted Gleyber Torres and Oswaldo Peraza.
Oh, that's why.
Yankees wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's a bad misstep by the Yankees.
It was. As much as Gleyber has been playing for them, he's definitely easier to fill than finding another Pablo Lopez.
Yeah.
Especially with the health scares and everything the Yankees been having, but I mean, I guess it's hindsight, like they get Rodon and hopefully he comes back, and but
he looks like Rodon is coming back soon.
It's just a shame, that's his MO. He's always hurt, and you don't want to start your career like that. And when you pitch in a high profile team like that, like to already be behind the 8 ball, and I'm sure the stress is going to add to it. Like if he's feeling, my fear is that he's going to push himself either too quick, or when he comes back, he might feel something, but maybe not say something and try to pitch through it, and then not pitch well, and then go through that whole big media market mayhem, but I have one more bold prediction, and I don't even know if it's that bold, but it did seem like it at the time. But last year there were 70, Jesus, that'd be impressive. Last year there were 7 20-20 guys, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases. This year there's going to be 25. That's tripling the number.
That's possible. Yeah.
It's tripling the number. And
what's the amount of, what's the percentage of like stolen bases? Like, where is it at right now? It's probably 3 or 4 times as high as it was last year at the time.
It's increased, but the number it guess depends how you look at it too. Like how you want to make it sound impressive or not. But it's like, I think last year is 1.2 successful stolen bases per game. This year is 1.6.
Mm-hmm.
But stolen base attempts, let's see. 2023. Pardon me. Yeah, so I kind of like this from this is only after week 1, but the number has stabilized a little bit, but it's gone down as well as far as like the amount of stolen bases. But 80.5 stolen base efficiency is what it was after week 1. It would be the first time the league has eclipsed that in a while. I forget what the time was, but yeah, I mean, they're up, but and there's an MLB network. I'm sorry, MLB thing here about certain teams stealing more bases. But it'll be interesting to see how the numbers come out, in the end. Here's a here's a quick thing real quick. Hold on, let me see. There's an article saying 3 things you didn't know about the stolen bases in 2023. And this is a pretty interesting article. I can send it to you guys, but and it'd probably be better to read in your own time than trying to suss it out here on quote unquote air. But yeah, I think that as far as the guy stealing, I mean, a part of that is health. Part of that is, some guys could do it, like Jazz Chisholm could easily be a 2020 guy, right? He just needs to stay healthy. And then part of that is the uptick in stolen bases needs to occur too. But tripling the number, I think, is pretty fucking bold,
yeah. No, I think it's definitely bold. And pitchers are going to fucking make adjustments, and I think it's going to be interesting to see where it goes during the year, because right now it's all slided heavy towards guys getting on base, and all the rules are favoring the pitch, the hitters.
Yeah.
Stolen bases and just, making pitchers uncomfortable. So, that's going to lead to more home runs probably. And, but we'll see how the pitchers react.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that prediction.
Are you liking the stolen base aspect of the game with the rules or what?
Yeah, I like all the new rules. I love the time clock. I think it's a lot. I think I might have texted you this, but listen to it on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like everything is just like more at a better pace. Yeah, I like seeing guys on base. They're definitely having fun with it. You could see a couple of guys trying to really mess with the pitchers, especially Volpe. That's the guy I probably watched the most, Yeah. But you could definitely tell he's on a mission, when he gets on base.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like it. I like all these new rules.
Yeah, I think they did a good job with them.
Mm-hmm.
There is one rule I do want to talk about before we get off, and I think we should probably pack it up in a second here. But here I clip this from the 3 things you don't know about all stolen bases in 2023. I'll send it to you guys. But while steal tries are indeed up over recent years, they don't really stand out meaningfully historically. Through Sunday, we've seen 1.7 attempts per team game, which is higher than last year's 1.4. Yet similar to 2010 or 2000 or 1973 or 1937, admittedly cherry-picking years, which also had similar rates of attempts per game. If the goal is to increase attempts over the recent lows of the 21st century, then the mission's accomplished. But 1.7 attempts per game is more or less the same as since World War II average of 1.6. So that's kind of what I love about it. It's not a crazy drastic rule changes in terms of like something we've never seen before. Like a pitch clock is more drastic of a change than making the bags bigger and having the disengagement rule, or things like there's elements like that make it game changing. But I think it's fantastic. One of the rules, it's funny, Jason Stark actually, I believe it was him, had kind of come up with this idea. It's actually being floated, I heard last week, in MLB to try it in AAA. I'm sorry, try it in minor leagues to see if it's worth bringing up. I think they call it the double hook, where, have you heard about this? Where if a team starter doesn't go 5 innings, if they get pulled before 5 innings, then then also their DH gets pulled. And so basically it's incentivizing. Yeah, it's incentive. And then your pitcher hits from there on out. So it's incentivizing the fact that starters go deeper into the game and eliminate, the whatchamacallit, the reliever starting, or pitchers to be pulled out. And some of the MLB guys, I think it was Brad Lidge was on the MLB Network when I was listening to it talking about it. And he was saying one of the things he loves about that is that one of the things he despises so much, what teams don't do, is they don't let guys work through problems. As soon as there's any conflict, they basically yank them out.
Yeah, they yank them.
Especially with all the arms in the bullpen and all this. So now let these guys struggle a little bit. If it means you're going to lose your DH, then you're going to play the game differently. But I kind of like it. It's weird, but
I could see MLB doing it because obviously with these new rules. But I don't know. It definitely seems like it could get guys more injured. And if just like the shift and all that stuff, there's a statistical reason why teams were doing it. So if there's a statistical reason why, you're going to pull a guy in the fourth inning, it's because it makes more sense. Statistically, you have a higher percentage of chance to win the game, right? So, if you're a team, you're probably going to poo-poo on that rule, but
yeah, 100%.
And I kind of agree with it too. I let teams do what they want to do. It's not like a shift where it's like,
yeah,
but maybe it is kind of in a way.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if like the players union passed it and things like that. But it would be interesting. I mean, obviously there have to be caveats, right? If a guy gets hurt, then that's not like the manager making the decision. Maybe if it's like a 10-run rule, like right now, that I kind of like this rule, but it's really subtle. It's often not talked about, where you can't have a player pitch, and I think it's unless you're up by 10 runs or 8 runs or something. So you can't have like Josh Harrison come in and pitch for the Phillies unless there's a certain amount of runs put up the other team's ahead by. I want to say it's 8, but it might be 10.
Is that a real rule? I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
they started this year. So I kind of like that too. It's subtle, it's simple. But yeah, it kind of ties into what you were saying. Does it also limit the teams making their decisions? But I mean, so does the whole shift thing. That was my only issue with I'm happy it got rid of the shift, and it's fun watching baseball. I watched today, just in the very little time I had the chance to watch that Boston Red Sox game with the Orioles. I saw
fun, right?
I saw like 2 or 3 hits in the 2 innings or so I watched that would have been outs in the shift.
Yeah,
and
right up the middle.
Yeah, so it's fun watching that. But my stance on it before was I was against it because, like, how can you tell a team not to play defense? It's like telling a football team that you can't play man to man or
basketball.
Play.
Basketball too.
Yeah, basketball to a degree though, they did do that. They finally let them play zone, but for a long time you couldn't play zone. But we'll just let a team play however they want, But I guess there are deeper limitations. But it is better for the game if the game's looking for more action, So I'm all for it. But
think about like the end of the season too, when like teams are like running on fumes, right? They make it to the playoffs. Now they're starting whoever they can in a game, and you want to, that this guy's about to get rocked. Like, you're going to penalize a team for taking a guy out in the 4th inning or the 3rd inning when, there's capable guys behind them to, salvage a playoff game or something like that. That's going to be controversial.
Yeah, I'm not in disagreement. I can see it being a hard rule to get by.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those wacky things. It's like starting a guy on second base to start extra innings.
I like really?
That. We're here. No, I like it too, but it's weird, right?
Yeah, it is, right. It's like it's so far from the difference.
You lose your DH because of a pitcher change, which is weird.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the funny thing is it might be weird, but at the same time, the DH is so new that it's kind of funny that it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the sake of everyone's listening, because we're pushing 2.5 hours.
Holy crap! Wow.
I know, which is great. And any other topics that you feel that we missed? Anything that you want to cover? Super quick. Any players? I think we did a pretty good job.
I mean, I think if we're going to make say you want to make this like a regular thing with the league, like with SADL.
Yeah.
Do it once a week with a couple different owners, maybe like, pick the players that stand out this past week or stand out this past month. Pick, kind of like what we did already. Players that you're disappointed in, or players that you know, are doing better than you thought they would do at this point in the season. You know, it'd be
I'm
pretty
definitely
cool.
cool with making it a regular thing.
Yeah.
The timing, I don't know how regular, you know, I like weekly would probably be pushing it, but
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
monthly maybe. Or maybe like segment points, you know, we can meet up again. If no one wants to do it monthly, I'd be happy to meet other GMs. I started this in the Out of the Park League where
Right.
I've been doing a meet the GM, you know, because we have 30 owners there. Here we have 10, which is fine. But I realized that, you know, you never get a chance to talk to those people. So as much as I've dealt with, you know, some of the saddle guys through text or trades or whatever, I haven't met them. And so be happy to do that. So happy to do a meet the GM and talk about teams and whatever, talk about whatever
Yeah.
topic that particular person wants to speak about. But yeah, if not, maybe we at least make it something where we do it as you know, a mid-season, you know, review or a trade
Yeah.
deadline review or, you know, kind
I
of
think we got a good template anyway, you know. We
Yeah,
just keep
exactly.
with the subjects. Now we just fine tune it, you know.
Yeah,
Like here,
yeah.
we're gonna set time limits to like certain segments, and we're good to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Anything that can improve the league, why not? You know, why not try it? Or why not
Right,
do
exactly.
it? You know.
Yeah, get some engagement going and you know,
Yeah.
and open to ideas. So anyone that's listening, all 7 of you other people that we made this for, if you guys have ideas or want to partake, then we can do it. But I think at least you know, I think we covered a pretty good amount. And I'd probably say from a standpoint of what we did that we nailed it. So
Yeah.
maybe
Let's-
we'll
let's
call
just-
it a wrap.
Call it a show. We'll just say.
Go, Josh Rojas.
Oh, I was gonna say go Yankees. You ruined it, Harris. God damn it.
I'll catch you guys off air in a second.
All right, good talk, fellas.
Same here.